Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead.
And I am Nathan from Nathan Does Beer.
And welcome to episode 181 of Beer and Other Shit, the podcast Adjunct series. Nathaniel, we are going back tonight to one of our favorite places in the province, sir.
Yes, we are. I'm very excited about it.
Super excited. As we've professed here, I would say at length over the years, Nate and I are huge fans of Prince Edward County, which is a beautiful little, not quite an island, but a little, what is it, an island? No, it's not. It's connected to Trenton. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the little region, let's say.
Yeah, region. There you go. That's sort of halfway between Toronto and Montreal-ish, a little more towards the Toronto side. Fantastic region, known, if you don't know anything about it, known for wineries and breweries. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of been one of the fastest growing regions, I would argue, in Ontario, as far as, maybe this is a bit more subjective, but the quality of the beer, like the new breweries are opening, are just killing it. It's such an eclectic scene. It's so cool.
For sure. Well, and even just in number of spots opening too, like in the last 5-6 years or so, that like it's just boomed.
It really has, man. It's so cool. And I imagine that all of the new guys are inspired by the OGs, and then the OGs are now, getting inspired by what the new cool kids are doing. It's just, it's fantastic. So this is our first time connecting with these wonderful people, and also you haven't tried the beer either, right?
I have not. So like this will be fresh for both of us.
I love it when this happens. That means we get to, it's nothing really better than getting to try it all for the first time with the folks behind the product. So, we're gonna shut up. I'm gonna get right into it. So let me mess this one up. We're gonna pop this here, guys. Please welcome Colin and Steph of Dune Hopper in the building. Where it is, there it is. We're done.
Welcome,
welcome. So nice to meet you both.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, pleasure.
Pleasure.
Very, very cool. As we were saying, and as we were saying off air, Nate and I are huge fans of everything PC, and we were also saying off air that obviously we have some mutual friends with the kids from All My Friends, and they had been raving to us about you guys for the last about year or so. So excited to get into it and to get to chatting. So how about we kick it off with this glorious little gem right here, the Tent Pitcher Craft Lager, which also is a hilarious name.
With this beautiful can art too.
Oh man! Every time been opening the fridge this week, I just been like, man, these are. I definitely want to get into the branding because this is very impressive. Guys, tell us about the beer.
Okay, do you want some backstory on the name?
Hell yeah,
please!
I'd love that.
Okay, so when I was coming up with this beer, if you look at our branding, a lot of it kind of centers around the whole camping outdoors theme. Mm-hmm. So camping's always been a big thing for Steph and I growing up, and even still. So part of my process when I go camping, like, it's really exciting to get on the campsite, get out of the car, smell the fresh air. So the first thing I've always done is pull out my tent out of the car and pull out the cooler and grab a beer to drink while I put up the tent.
Smart.
Pitching the tent. So this is the beer I want to drink when I'm pitching a tent on the campsite.
So it's a little more what's the word? What's innocent than perhaps it sounds.
Yeah.
I like that. I love that story. That is amazing. And this is a 4.8% lager. Is it a specific style that you were aiming for in this? I mean, looking at this, it could be, my guess without trying it would be either American Light Lager or probably more towards the Helles based on the color.
It was going more for almost like a Czech style, but a lot less bitter.
The nose is very Czech. I should have smelled it first. Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to try it. Folks, once again, welcome. Thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. Cheers.
Cheers, y'all. Get it in you. Money. I see exactly what you're saying. It's a Czech style Pilsner, less bitter. It's exactly what it is. SARS? in this one?
No,
No
this
sauce.
is Middlefra.
Middlefra.
Okay.
And why did you choose to do that one?
Use that hop in
Yeah,
particular?
the hop. Sorry, yes.
Maybe just to be a little different because I find everybody uses Saaz, so I wanted my beer to stand out just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That makes complete sense.
And I really love that hop. I've used it quite a bit over the years, and I just really like what it brings to a beer.
I love it. And was this is this like a newer one, or is this something you've been doing since you opened?
This has been around since we opened, and it's probably going to be one of the I don't know if you want to call it a flagship, but
Okay.
I've only got 2 or 3 of those. The rest of my beers all constantly rotate new.
Gotcha. Okay, so
This was really the first beer that you planned, right?
Yeah.
When we were talking about opening, this was the first one. And there were a whole bunch of iterations of it in our kegerator because he was homebrewing. This is before we opened the brewery, you were sort of tweaking the recipe and stuff.
Yeah, I was
before.
trying some recipes, before we opened, and kind of got it dialed in.
Okay. So I mean, that's amazing that this is definitely something that is, I guess, created pre the brewery that sort of made it. You know, it's like the recipes that make it through, you know, that homebrew phase to be like, hey man, we can do something with this. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a hit.
It's our best seller. It's been our best seller since we opened over a year ago.
Wow.
So it's the #1 constant. The only thing that's come like so close to kicking it off the bestseller list, the #1 was your blueberry raspberry sour.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That became the closest in sales. I mean, everything actually sells well, but this has consistently been the top.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just an easy drinking beer. I mean, it's something you can drink in volume to an extent.
Yeah.
Compared to like a 6.5%, 7% IPA. So
I think that has a lot to do with our location too, because of where we are. I mean, even just being, down the road from all my friends who are very IPA focused and who sell, they're like an IPA candy store. So their IPAs do very, very well. Whereas just being 10 minutes down the road, our best sellers are lighter beers. So the lager, the light lager, the sours and the IPA sell great, but the American Pale Ale is another big one. So we have a big open space, a cornfield, a big patio, and then we've got Sandbanks Provincial Park right outside of us. I think that location, the whole camping vibe, the whole like knocking back beers kind of all day, I think that really affects our sales, as well as it being like a stellar lager. But I think that makes a huge difference.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I know exactly what you guys what you're talking about. Where in Bloomfield are you guys specifically? Is it on that main drag?
No.
No.
So Bloomfield, I guess, is on 62.
Okay.
And then you turn off on County Road 12 to get to Sandbanks, and all my friends' breweries kind of right
They're
there.
right on the corner. Yeah.
If you keep driving another 8 minutes, you'll see us on the left-hand side of the road.
Gotcha.
It's in a little village called Westlake.
Westlake.
We're like a little bike. We get people who bike from Sandbanks. Like we're very close, across from Isaiah Tubbs Conference Center.
Okay, I'm sure I know. I'm struggling to picture it, but I've been all around there, so I'm sure I'll notice it.
Right across from Westlake.
Westlake.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
If you've gone to Sandbanks Provincial Park, you've driven past our entrance.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Prior to us opening, probably, if it's been a while, but
yeah. No, yes, that would have been true. But that's such a fantastic location, like you're saying. Like the park is arguably one of the most, probably the biggest attraction of the whole region. Is that a fair comment?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
A lot of people always saw. I've only been one time, and it was gorgeous. I couldn't believe there was beaches like that in Canada, let alone Ontario. It's insane with that sand. It was insane. It felt like Australia.
Yeah.
It was okay. That's amazing. So maybe we'll just skip back a touch then. Oh, you know what? Can we touch on the branding just before we move on?
Yeah.
Because like Nate was saying earlier, like the branding on these, and as everyone will see as we go on tonight, like it's so I don't know, we're both like suckers for like good branding, particularly at, in beer. I think it's more important than ever at this time, because it's I feel like you have to come with the strongest approach to branding you can in this sort of like bit of a beer downturn, and trying to like grab attention. And it very much so, this to me felt like something like out of the States. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Burlington Beer Co. stuff, which I've always been a huge fan of. Just like not like too close, but just reminiscent of to me. Love to hear about the approach to the branding, because guys, it's fantastic.
You want to field this one?
Yeah, sure. So I think our branding is one of the main things about us. It's when we have our cans on display, the ones that we have on tap and to go. We have our cans on display right when you walk in. So it's one of the first things people see, and they're always commenting on it. And our designer is Michael Zavacki, and he's out of Perth. And we just basically told him what our idea was and where our location was. And I sent him a bunch of pictures of us growing up camping and what it was like to grow up camping in the 80s, with the blue metal Coleman coolers and the short shorts and the canvas orange tents, and that whole vibe was what we were going for. And then we were like hoping that we could pull that over into the building too. So when we built, we had our design, we wanted it to look kind of like a park store, right? So we told Zeke that we wanted it to be sort of retro 80s camping, but because retro is so in right now, we wanted it also to be different. So also kind of like with a modern spin on it. And so when he got these designs going, he said he wanted, here's like the hoodie right here. One of the hoodies.
Yeah.
This is the tent pitcher logo here. And so with all of the cans, he tries to see how far he can push the design, keeping more or less the same elements in all the labels. And then he changes up the colors. Our seltzers, because they're different, are the only metallic labels that we have. Okay. So those rotate, and those labels, and only those labels, will be the metallic ones. And then for each, he's created. Never say never. Well, for each, he's created, like you'll see here, this is one of my favorite elements of the design, the badge here.
Yep.
So on each can, you'll notice that these badges are different. So Hatchet has, I think, a hatchet in the badge, but so it's very reminiscent of Provincial Park, right?
Yeah, it is.
But he put his own twist on it, which is basically like it's not a square, because I think the Provincial Park ones are squares. And then he tied in that badge with whatever the beer is. So and it was really important for us and him as well, because he's such a stellar designer, to be consistent and to be easily recognized wherever people see our cans. We wanted them to see Dune Hopper, and Dune Hopper is so prominent on the can, on all the labels, that sometimes we do get, but sometimes we do get people asking for a Dune Hopper.
Oh,
the actual name, but it's fantastic. Like this design is probably, like the flagship beer. It's probably our most iconic label, with the Provincial Park sort of reminiscent of those colors. But because the labels are so good and so consistent, I thought I would just use them for all our merch too. So I've put them on our t-shirts.
That's brilliant.
I've used the full colors for all for some of the t-shirts. For the summer t-shirts, I used like the exact bubblegum seltzer label. coasters, hats, like, and then this, you know, because we've got different elements to the design, I could also take this image and then just put, instead of tent picture here, I could put like sandbanks and then, you know, Ontario or whatever, Peck, Ontario. And then I can take these badges, because there's now a collection of them, and I can put them, you know, down a sleeve or do whatever. So the designs are not only great for labels, but they lend themselves really easily to our merch. And then I made, we made 18 by 24 posters as well, full color. And those people have been buying and then framing and putting up in the Airbnbs and cottages and stuff like
I
that.
love that.
Yeah, so I'm really hoping, well, we're hoping that because Zeke has really created something that is so recognizable and so consistent, we're hoping that we can make the branding as well as the beer almost like a household kind of thing, right? Something that becomes like I mean, this might be a little pretentious to say, but something like Patagonia or whatever, but for beer, right? Like, so the quality doesn't stop at the beer, or the brand doesn't stop at the beer. It extends to the entire experience, you know, of behind the beer.
I love that. That is so awesome. That is so smart. And I feel like it's not entirely common where breweries have been able to leverage their art that they're paying for, every label, and then be able to be like, well, now we have these files, and now we can be like you said, be creative, take those little parts and then, you know, make a generic version, like you said, or take the little label and put that. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so
That's smart. That's like a good piece of advice for anyone, is the brand doesn't stop at the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can, I mean, because we get so much feedback on the design, I think, I mean, let's run with it, roll with it. Plus, it's so cool. Like, you want to wear it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've got, here we put, where am I here? Brewing Co. instead of the tent picture there. So it could be a little more
generic.
Oh, perfect.
Rather than the beer itself, but then the label of tent picture kind of represents the brewery pretty well.
And then for one of the beers we did, we called it West Lake, as a sort of tribute to our area. And then I thought, well, we could just make t-shirts that say West Lake on them, which is the same name as the beer, but then also be kind of like a souvenir, like one of those, you know, location t-shirts, Sandbanks, West Lake, whatever. The designs just lend themselves to all kinds of opportunity to get our name out there.
Was that intentional, or was that like serendipity?
I don't, I would say it was like, I would say once we kept seeing all the new cans come out, once we kept seeing all the new labels, and how much, like, it's like every customer who comes in comments on the branding. Then and because I'm running the tap room, I hear this nonstop. I'm just thinking, okay, well, people love it, so we can really do something with it. So we've got you know, a slew of the posters up on the walls as part of our decorations, as well as, like, you know, the regular camping gear and all of that. But I would say, just based on like feedback from customers and stuff, and seeing what Zeke is doing and how invested he is in the brewery and keeping us consistent as a brand. He's, you know, sometimes he'll email us and he'll say, hey, I've got a new concept for a design. So it'll be backwards, you know, it won't be like, hey, Zeke, we've got this beer coming out, can you do a design for it? Sometimes he'll come up with a design and say, what beer can we do with this? Because he's constantly thinking about how we can, you know, carry on the brand.
That's so cool.
He's amazing. He's amazing. Yeah.
Very fortunate.
as a craft beer drinker, I wanted to include some stuff in our labels that I always like look for when I'm going to, say LCBO or whatever. I want it to be clear, like Dune Hopper is in big letters. So if somebody's looking at a shelf full of beer, it's like immediately you can pick out a Dune Hopper beer.
Yeah.
But also just typical critical stuff that I look for when I'm deciding what beers to buy is like what style it is. So right there,
Craft lager or
and the alcohol percent. Those are so you're not kind of like searching for it on the can. Like, what am I buying?
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, so do I.
The American ones do. I almost feel like they don't really have like a law. Some of them don't even have it on there. I feel like they don't even have a law where you have to put it on. So at least in Canada, you have to. But I get that totally. To make that information as obvious as possible, it's just like boom, it's in the same place in every beer. Essentially, what you've done.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's definitely a thing of if I'm particularly if I'm in the States or or anywhere where I don't necessarily know exactly what I'm shopping for. If I need to spend even like 5 seconds looking for the style, I'm probably just going to put it back on the shelf.
Yeah. We wanted to keep, and that's the other thing too. If we're looking at craft beers, you don't want to read like a book on it, on the label. So we try to keep the descriptions clear, not too overwritten with like huge descriptive flavor and aroma things. Just try to keep it nice and simple so you see what you're getting, and then the experience is in the taste. I think now that we're paying attention to this kind of stuff as a business as well, I'm seeing how much is the same out there, and I just constantly feel like I just want to be different. I want to do something a little different, like it's like people are, you guys should make a smoothie beer and stuff like that. And I'm just like, well, but everybody's doing smoothie beers. And I know that, you make what sells, but also how can we sort of break that mold and stop being typical, And so I want to do that. I want to do that in our merch. We want to do that in everything we offer, not have, especially because of our location, which is like, 12 breweries in this tiny area. So then and people are doing tours, and you don't want your experience to be the exact same as all the others that they visited. Right.
Good point.
So
it's been a while since we've had a planning meeting because she's talking about not doing smoothie beers, and I was thinking of making one.
Are you both fans of
I'm
style?
rolling my eyes. Yeah. Are you what?
Sorry, am I a fan of smoothie?
Are both of you guys, or either of you? Yeah. Do you guys actually like the style?
I don't.
I find it quite enjoyable and interesting, but to be honest, I drink half a can and I'm done. I've had enough.
Gotcha.
I don't really like smoothies, like regular smoothies.
Right. Yeah. So it's the texture, maybe.
It is. Yeah. So Rob at All My Friends makes his Gusher, which is a smoothie beer. And I've had, like, because we're so close, we usually stop there all the time to try their new stuff. And they're good. But I have, maybe 5 ounces and then I'm done. Like it's to taste, to experience it. Right.
Gotcha. No, totally get it. I only asked because it was we find, like, obviously we've been doing this for coming up on 10 years, so we talk to a lot of people, and we find that the best breweries make the beer that either the brewer or the team, whatever, want to drink.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why I was like, if you guys like them, then you should make it. But if you don't like it, I remember I don't know if you guys remember back in, say, 2017, 2018, when haze was really starting to pop off, and well, at least up here, and then people were like, oh, great, now we have to make one. They would just do these pedestrian kind of really average haze because they didn't do it because they wanted them. They did it because they thought they had to.
Yes.
And I always thought that was an interesting sort of observation as far as that. But then there's also the flip side. If you can do it, if you can make it well, and even if you guys like them enough to drink 5 ounces, but that there are some people who will drink a mug of the stuff, then get that diabetes in them. But I love a good glass of. Nate and I are both big fans. I love smoothies. Love the diabetes. It's
I
great.
mean, we'll get to this beer eventually, but I mean, admittedly, I'm not a sour beer drinker, but I make them and they sell really well.
Yeah.
There you go.
I do
love
like
that.
sours. And I find that the majority of our customers, I mean, people are looking for, well, that's the thing. Before we opened, of course, we got so much advice, right? Everybody's
I bet.
well, it's you got to do this and you got to do this, but it really is tied to your location, and even if you're 10 minutes apart, your demographic can be so different. So everybody was like, you got to focus on the IPAs. The IPAs are the hype beers. They're what's going, all this kind of stuff 2 years ago, and especially hazies, and yeah, we make them and we rotate them and we sell them really well. But again, it's our lighter beers that are actually our stars.
The big ones.
Like that, like the camping beers are really what pops for you. It seems.
Yeah. I know we do get a lot of. I mean, I can't say there's like a huge difference in the percentage between women and men drinkers, but we get a lot of women, and a lot of women do like the sours, especially because in that area, if they're often there for the wineries, and so I find that women who prefer to drink wine are really open to the sours. Then this is what the fruitier taste.
Yeah, it's the good gateway for a wine drinker for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love that. That then you just prove that's a great exception to the rule. Like maybe if it's not your favorite thing, but you can execute and do them well, and people love it. It's perfect. And then
that's right.
Really, I guess at the end of the day, you do have to serve the clientele. And if you guys are in wine country, well, wine/beer country, you got to have a bit of. Yes, I mean, kind of not quite something. I guess something for everybody. I don't know if that's too generic, but be able to cater to most palates, or at least somebody will walk in and there'll be something that they lack.
Yes.
Just proves it is like it's absolutely important to know your market.
Yeah. I mean, it's impossible to please everyone, but I try in the tap room. I try to have something that everyone can drink, because we are also more family oriented.
Okay.
So when people are coming, the majority of unless it's off season, well, we still have families, but mostly we have a lot of campers and families. And so there might be a parent who's not drinking, or there might be a pregnant woman, or there might be whatever. So we have like 4 different kinds of non-alcoholic beers too. And then drinks for the kids and stuff. So we try to have something that, and also enough variety for people if they want to do a flight too.
Of course.
But there will be times when people will say, can you make this? Can you make this? Or do you have this? And Colin's just hard no. I'm not doing it.
So what's a hard no for you?
Great question.
Probably not going to make a red ale.
Yeah.
Ooh, no ambers. That keeps coming up. I feel like breweries keep mentioning to us that the audience or the whatever their customers ask for it, and I can't remember who it was, Nate. Someone told us recently, and then they started making it, and now they can't not make it.
Oh,
was it Gather or something?
And I've seen the opposite. People
come
in saying, "Oh, do you have a red ale? Do you have a red ale?" And I've actually known 1 or 2 breweries that are like, "Okay, I'll make a red ale." And then it took them forever to actually move it.
Right.
Because people aren't buying that in the quantities that they might buy, like
a lager or something.
A lager or something like that. So we had 2 superb stouts, a dessert stout and a lighter stout that was 5.5%. And everyone loved them. Yeah. And we made like a Christmas kind of deluxe drink out of the dessert stout with whipped cream and stuff, and they just they were excellent beers, but they took 9 months to sell because people weren't buying large quantities of it and coming in and having multiple pints of it, right?
It's too much of a treat type of thing. You just can't. I get it.
Yeah, it turns into something where maybe you could do a pilot batch or something and have it only on tap or something like that. Or you could do something darker tasting, but not so hard to move.
Intense.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting conversation. Sorry, Colin.
Oh, just making a joke. I have a beer in the tank that's.
I know he never wants me to tell what's going on, but I always do. Try to get people excited.
Actually, it's a collaboration beer, so I won't say too much till it's released. But yeah.
Oh, it was the compromise.
It's a little more malty, but it's not a dark beer.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Well, can you tell us when it's expected to come out?
I'm packaging on November 11th, so that week it'll be out.
Okay. So by the time this episode comes out, there'll be like new collab coming in like a week or so.
Yeah,
two new collabs.
Yeah,
2 new collabs.
Oh, okay, fun.
Yeah.
It'll be 2 weeks after that. Okay. Is there anything else? This will come out next Wednesday. Is there anything else you could tease? Because it's still like 2 weeks out from then. Is there anything else you want to tease people with?
No, just restocking some of the other ones. That's it for this next run.
You don't want to say what styles they are?
Oh, the 2 new ones?
Yeah.
Actually, one will be an amber lager, and the other one's a double IPA.
Okay.
Oh, right
nice.
on.
Amber lager is a nice compromise. That's actually kind of cool because a red ale is not the same as like an amber / kind of Vienna. Is it like Vienna?
No, it's like a German style amber. I recently came across the style, like reading through the Wireman website, and it sounded really good, so I made one.
Okay.
No, that's dope. I recently had a Czech amber lager and it was really, really good. So yeah, like that sounds exciting.
Well, one of the best beers he ever made, in my opinion, was a Czech style dark lager. So when he was saying, I don't want to make anything dark like a stout, I suggested that. And then he came up with the rot beer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's fun.
There's a little bit of a compromise there. But that Czech style dark lager was his first, I think, super indication that you could indeed have your own brewery. That was
First time I brewed that style was actually because I won Best of Show at an Ottawa area homebrewing, like national homebrewing competition. So the prize was to go brew a beer at BAOS Brewing.
Nice. Oh, nice.
2018 I won. I think it was 2019 I brewed the beer for their Oktoberfest festival.
Yeah.
What was it
called? That was such a huge festival, like thousands of people were there.
Yeah.
Here, right?
The ironic thing was I won the homebrew contest with a Kolsch, but I couldn't brew that beer at BAOS because they're like, well,
it's too like blood credit.
Well, yeah. So what did you make for the festival?
Yeah, what did you make?
It was a Czech dark lager.
Czech dark lager.
Oh, okay.
What was
that
it called?
a Czech dark lager.
Tmave, right? Wasn't it?
Did they give it a name?
Bring out the poster.
Oh yeah, please do.
Did we go in 2019, Nate? I think we went 2017 and 18.
I think it was 17 and 18.
They called it the actual style in Czech, so Tmave.
Oh, that's sick.
Pronounce that.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we must have missed that. That's so fun.
I don't know if you can.
Yeah, I can totally see it. That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. What a fun,
right on.
Encouraging thing, and it's even cooler that the person who won that ends up starting their own place, which is even like.
It's very validating when you win something that big. Like he's got a board of awards, it just, and I think each time it was validating to win these awards. But when you went into Brew for BAOS, that was like your biggest.
Well, that was a fun day too. They were world class over there, and how they treated me. It was a fun day.
Yeah,
good people. Steve's the champion.
Yeah,
I guess different organization now, but it's good for them. Such a cool thing. I just realized now. I imagine probably time for the next one.
Yeah, it is. Mine's tapped. That lager went down beautifully.
So easy. Honestly, fantastic.
I'll let you guys pick. What are we doing next?
Well, I like what you said in the beginning as far as to the basically lightest to darkest or strongest taste. So we have. Okay. Do you finish with the sours? Is that what's your like?
I
How would
Got there?
I would finish with the seltzer, to be honest.
Yes, I
Okay.
would too.
So what else
I would
is there?
do
Sour and-
hatchet now, and then the sour, and then the seltzer. No?
Yeah.
and we also have solo trip.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
then solo trip first, then hatchet, then
6.5,
Okay.
6.2. So it looks like it's a slightly higher ABV on solo trip, but that's cool to do that first.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
They're both tropical tasting,
So it's
but
not. It's
hatchet
such a.
is more like a ripe pineapple sort of candy-ish taste.
Gotcha.
And then Simcoe is the solo trip single hop IPA.
Gotcha. Which is this beautiful gem right here. There we
Yeah,
go.
so
Come on
nice.
now.
I love that. I actually used that image for my business card.
It's
It's
Oh, that's awesome.
good images. Yeah, everything is so good.
I said, oh, and look, and there's the
This is
The hop
like,
there.
and this is such like a happy, colorful one too.
yeah. I think this was the one that I had at the front of my fridge, and every single time I open, I'm like, God damn.
Can I
wanna
show
drink this
you
now."
guys our cans?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
please
have
do.
some-
Please
I
do.
have some,
We love a good tour.
see if I
podcast tour.
can,
Oh, sick.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, they look so cool.
show you some of the cans.
Is
are
that
there.
everything you've done in the last year?
There's only one missing. Do you remember which one it was?
No, I got it. It was
did?
the original, the first solo trip. I found it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's right there.
Where? Oh yeah, on the end.
Oh, nice. The little pink one.
No,
Oh,
on,
the
on
black
top
one.
of it.
The black one there.
Yeah.
There it is.
There you
So
go,
that
you
was
can see
the
that.
first solo trip. What was that? What what hop was
that
it?
was HBC 586,
Oh,
now
right.
affectionately known as Crush.
Okay.
Yeah,
586 became Crush. And the one we have now is Simcoe.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, they look so sick. It's interesting because we were just talking at length about the branding, and then now
Yeah.
seeing them all together. So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you can
great.
see. So I don't know if it will come out on the, but you can
Oh,
see
yeah.
that these
Oh, you
the
can tell.
seltzers are metallic, right?
Yep.
So
Oh yeah, we can
sick.
see
So
that.
that's the hard water, and then the bubblegum seltzer down here, the pink one.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can tell even from here that that's metallic. That
Yeah.
was sick. It's so
And
cool.
it's such an amazing, an amazing seltzer. That one. That was.
I don't think
Wow.
I've ever heard of a bubblegum one, which is even more
Oh,
fun.
people went crazy for it. And for the release, we got a pail of Double Bubble was my favorite growing up. So it was kind of nostalgia, but people really enjoyed that one.
Okay,
That's so cool.
I'm actually going to be drinking the last sour I made before the current one because you guys got the last two solo trips. I put them.
Oh,
aside.
did we?
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
they sold out. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a better problem to have. So this is the second solo trip, it seems. Is that correct? So there's two. There's the 586, and then
Yeah.
there's this bad boy with Simcoe.
Yeah.
So solo trip is an
Wicked head.
ongoing series, as well as my sours are all called Adventure, and then they just have their individual fruits.
Gotcha.
So this
Okay.
one, Solo Trip, has been out for. I forget when we released it.
Couple months ago.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of months that we released it.
Okay. So it looks like it sold pretty
But
quick.
it was released at the same time as the sour, wasn't it? As this blueberry raspberry sour.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that is perfect. And why did you choose Simcoe for this one?
Oh, I just wanted to go for a classic craft beer hop, and I love Simcoe.
It's a great one.
You can pretty much put it with almost anything I find, and it can jive pretty well.
It is a banger.
It is one
Sometimes
and
wrong.
it is one that's kind of working really well right now. That like other ones that like definitely go through phases. Like one that I'm not really keen on right now is Mosaic, and that's one that that was a pretty keen choice for for combos, and even still is and for single hops as well. But like I much prefer Simcoe these days.
Oh yeah, well, I found Simcoe had a couple of years there where I wasn't loving it as much. I think like the early 2020s, I think.
Yeah.
2021.
They all seem to go through these phases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be the batches too, like
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I wonder if that's a batch thing or maybe what
or a
what
harvest thing.
recipes, how people chose to use
Could
it.
be us little breweries that don't get the pick of the heart.
The
Stuff picked off the vine last, and
Yeah.
what's it called? The selection.
The
Yeah, I know
selection,
that's a
yeah.
different thing. But I know there was we talked about this at length on the pod in the past about Galaxy, because Galaxy had a bunch of years, like in the 20 whatever 17 18, and so it was the god tier hop, and then, over the last few years it had been just garbage. Anything with Galaxy and it was horrible, and then now it's come maybe in the last 6 months or so it's starting to make a comeback, according to
but also
brewers
like
who have done
tasting
rubs.
completely different than it like than it did even in 2018, but it's really good right now.
Yeah. So
But anyway,
I think in my West Coast IPA, that was earlier this summer, and I thought it was good. It was pretty good this year.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been hearing from everybody.
Yeah,
and it's very cool. It's very cool. So anyway, coming back, it's basically that could be what it would have been with Simcoe, but it seems like Simcoe is like kicking ass right now, which is a beautiful thing.
Isn't it funny how they trend?
Yeah,
so funny.
Goes with people's palates. Maybe it's just kind of like market demand type of thing.
And then there is like quite a bit of experimentation too by brewers who really enjoy making the IPAs, like using like the what is it, the thiols or whatever, using like different things to sort of kind of bring out more flavor or aroma or whatever. What's the other?
There's all kinds of cryo hops, your abstracts, your dynamic hyper boosts,
zero,
and then there's wow, I was just about to say something and now I'm drawing a blank on it. Like the Phantasm and and stuff there like that too. Yeah,
Phantasm. That came and went pretty quick.
Yeah,
it did, and I'm okay with it. I wasn't a big fan of Phantasm.
Same. Never had anything.
Just personally, I found a lot of the beers that came out during the big thiol phase all kind of tasted the same. So I don't know. Differentiate, and it was just sort of weird.
I thought it was the same with Phantasm too. I thought they all wound up kind of tasting the same.
Yeah,
definitely wasn't the move. So then, okay, so we have the Simcoe solo trip, and you guys have, just might as well talk about yours quick, and then we'll cheers.
You've got let's see, can you see the color in that one better? Oh, I don't know. Everything is really grainy in our photo.
Okay, we can get the general gist. It looks very bright and purple.
Yep.
It's blueberries and raspberries. Like, I don't know, over 200 kilos of fruit puree in this one.
Damn.
Well,
wow.
About 25% by volume is fruit puree.
So it's basically a smoothie, little baby smoothie.
Well, it's fermented out though.
It's quite thin, so and it's only 3.5% this sour, and this is the one
that's a crusher.
Yeah, this is the one that gave Tent Pitcher a run for its money. So it was
okay.
It's the fastest selling
batch
you've ever had. I think
the hot summer months. That's why.
Yeah,
it's a little bit lighter, so it's just crushable.
Love it.
Oh, and the taste, this really held up. The taste is so good.
Cheers, y'all. Sorry,
cheers.
We're drinking. Yeah, that sounds. This nose is great. Smells like Simcoe.
This was packaged same as the solo trip, wasn't it?
Yeah,
same day.
This is great. This is exactly kind of what I thought it would be. It's so funny because you can describe, like, you can talk about a Simcoe IPA, and I'm like, oh, that's exactly what a Simcoe IPA would taste like. It's great. The body. I was very curious for this one because I wanted to get a bit of a vibe of the Dune hopper style or approach to IPAs. Would you say this is pretty reflective of some of the other, as far as maybe like the body and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I tinker with the ABV a little bit, but yeah, a lot like hazies. My hazies are all brewed very similarly. I mean, I'll kind of change up oats versus wheats, As far as hop quantities, it's pretty similar. The stronger the beer gets, the more hops I put in it. But I'm pretty aggressive with dry hops in my beers.
Which
But they're
definitely
all very smooth. Like every time someone drinks one of the hazies, they're all like, "Oh, this is like." You never know it's 6.2 or 6 or whatever. Like the tastes are so
6.5.
smooth.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be my process. Like when I do my whirlpool hopping, I usually do it fairly cool, like around 75 Celsius. And then dry hops, I always do a soft crash to around 12 Celsius, and then I dry hop at like a cooler temperature.
Mhm.
I find it kind of smooths out some of the harshness from dry hopping.
That's smart. I love that. This is exactly that. This is so smooth.
Yeah,
You said it's a
it is
couple
for
months
sure.
old. Like I always consider myself a bit of a date code princess. I always like sort of IPAs like two weeks old type of thing. But I'm always impressed when like you could have told me this is 2 weeks old and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. This doesn't taste like it's dropped essentially at all. Like there's no that that sticky sweet malt thing that goes on the older hazy IPAs.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's oxidation.
yeah, essentially just from it just happens. Doesn't matter the best of the best. It happens to everybody. But this is holding up really well. So I guess that says a lot. One, to your processes, and two, I guess, to your canning. Like probably very little DO, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm very particular about managing DO in my process, and then we're a tiny brewery, so I get a canning company that comes in. Yeah, so I use Canning Collective, and they do a really good job. Like the DO pickup from tank to can is very minimal.
So good.
That's good. That's what you want.
Absolutely.
And
We actually when we run out of a beer, so when a beer sells out the batch, we pull our display can, which we put out on the same day the beer is released.
okay.
So that beer has been warm the entire time, like just room temperature. And then we keep those and actually drink them just to see how they stand up. Didn't you compare a couple of IPAs?
Yeah, if I can, I like to compare the can that was kept warm to one I've kept cold the whole time. And
How have you found that?
See what the difference is.
The warm one, they usually hold up pretty. I mean, there's a difference, obviously, but it's
there would be.
breaking as I expected it to be.
Yeah,
Right.
it's amazing, eh?
That is very cool. I remember, now you mention it, I did this like I don't know, maybe sometime during the pandemic when I had more time. I did like a test where I bought two of the same beers. One was a Pilsner, and I think one was some sort of an IPA. I forgot which one it was. I left one just on the shelf in like and I had this little apartment that's no air conditioning, so just warm and hot, exactly, horrible Montreal summers, rough. Left it on the shelf, the other one in the fridge, and I did a side by side. I'm blind, I didn't know which was which. And I think for both times, the one that was left out was better than the refrigerated one.
Interesting.
And I was like, there was no way, because I'm always like, particularly anything that's hop focused, I would always try to make sure as keep it as cold or as refrigerated. Exactly. But interesting that you guys found a similar thing. I only tried it like twice, so you guys obviously have done that a bunch. So that's very interesting. I wonder what causes that. I wonder if is it the packaging, or is it like what could stop it from being interfered with that heat or whatever, or lack of cold.
I think a lot of it has to do with your the oxygen in package.
Yeah,
that's going to be the quickest degrading.
That's got to be the biggest thing.
And the heat contributes to that.
Yeah, because
lack of cold.
Chemical reactions all happen faster at warmer temperatures. So keep a beer cold versus a beer warm. The one that's kept cold, it's going to degrade slower just because of that temperature. Everything slows down.
Gotcha. That totally makes sense. I love it. This is great. Go on, Nate.
Yeah, I was going to say we should bring it back because we jumped around a little bit, and
I was literally about to.
So we should come back to our original question. So Craig, I'll kick it back to you to get us back on track here.
Yes, it's okay, because I feel like we had some great convo in the meantime. The idea, we told you guys off air, was supposed to always ask at the beginning. Tell us how you both got into craft beer, and then how that led to Dune Hopper. The whole story, and we can for both of you and go as deep as you want to. It's always fascinating to hear these stories.
All right. Well, gonna totally give away my age, but
Who cares? Who cares?
the early 2000s, had kind of a corporate job. I worked in purchasing in the automotive industry. So part of my job, I did a lot of traveling to visit, audit potential suppliers, and negotiate contracts, that sort of thing. So I ended up traveling around the United States a fair bit. And down there, craft beer was starting to take off around that time. So I'd end up in these, restaurants, pubs, whatever, and I'd be trying these beers and just kind of amazed at the flavor that I could get from a beer compared to what, I grew up drinking. But then I'd come back to Ontario and go to the LCBO, and there would be like 2 or 3 craft beers there. Like the selection was very minimal. So I decided to try making it myself.
Smart.
It started out pretty much, this is going to be a pretty typical story for a lot of brewers, I'm sure, but I started out with the malt extract, doing it on the kitchen stove and peeling paint off the kitchen ceiling from all the steam.
Yeah.
The brewer's best boxes.
First few batches were, you could drink it, but it wasn't great. And then I got into brewing all grain and, did the mashing in a cooler, that sort of thing. And I found that really improved the beer already. And then I just kind of got obsessed, because it just kind of fascinated me that I could make this beverage that tasted delicious. And I don't know, it was just fun. So I started reading everything I could, books, be on, forums on the internet, talking to other home brewers, going on brewing websites and brewing, constantly brewing.
Yeah.
I just found the beer kept improving and I was just having a lot of fun. So eventually I kind of wanted to get somebody else's opinion on the beer. So I decided to enter a competition. And the first competition I entered, I just submitted one beer and I think it got a bronze medal. So that was kind of exciting. So I started doing it more. And it got to the point where every competition I entered, pretty much every beer medaled.
Right.
So it's kind of got my confidence up, and I, started getting a little dream of, it'd be pretty cool to open my own brewery, but I didn't know how to do anything on the big scale or whatnot. And I think it was after I won that
the BAOS,
the competition where I got to brew at BAOS. The owner of another brewery got in touch with me and said, "Hey, do you want to meet for lunch?" So I went, and after that lunch, I think it was early 2020, I walked away with a job offer as an assistant brewer.
Hell yeah.
God damn.
So I thought about it, and a lot of my family was encouraging me to take it. It was a big pay cut, obviously a big career change going from a corporate type job to, making beer. But I eventually, after a couple of days, decided to take it because I thought it was like, this is my opportunity to learn how to brew on a big scale, learn how to do it from somebody else that knows what they're doing, and get paid while I'm getting an education. So I took it.
It's okay if the answer is no, but are you willing to say what brewery this was?
It was Signal Brewery.
Right. Okay.
So
that's how we met Rob at All My Friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's the connection there.
Yeah. So anyways, I worked as an assistant brewer for about a year, and then the head brewer there left to go start his own brewery, which you all know.
Mm-hmm.
So I took over as a head brewer. I think it was 2021. And then that same year, Dune Hopper was incorporated because through a mutual friend, Steph and I met our business partner who had a beautiful piece of property close to the entrance to Sandbanks that also wanted to open a brewery. So he had a great location. I had the knowledge of how to do it at this point. So it made a good fit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess
there's still residual buckets of grain and all kinds of things I've had to put up with. That whole wall was grain.
Wow.
Yeah, he hasn't homebrewed since we opened the brewery.
Yeah,
Across from me, I'm looking at a bookshelf of bottles of mead that have been sitting there for years.
I've been into mead making for a while.
Yeah. Oh, he just like, you got obsessed with fermenting.
Yeah.
Just fermenting anything. I mean, he made sauerkraut. And then you made soap, and you were making all kinds of stuff. And then he just like, all right, I'm gonna
None of it was
focus
as fun
on
as
beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
On beer. Yeah.
It's good to have that skill set. I feel like it's important because we're also detached from making shit. We're just used to buying it. Yeah. So it's cool to be. I can't make hardly anything, but I want to learn all this stuff. I love it. I like that you guys have that interest, because you have to have that kind of passion to get good at it, or to take the time to look into it. It's and obviously that's what happened with you guys here to be winning all those. It's not easy to brew good beer on homebrew setups, I would imagine.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, fancy equipment helps a little bit, but
right. So it's all process and
it's more. I mean, by the time I quit homebrewing, I was still mashing in a Coleman cooler. Like, it worked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it does have a great deal to do with the fact that you're very particular. Like, he pays attention to the details, and cleanliness and sanitation is a huge thing, I think. And you're big on that. So, and then just, like, really just filling up with as much knowledge as you can, and then experimenting. I don't know, but I think your attention to detail and the process, and being really like paying attention as you brew, and then experimenting with the creation, like what malts, and I mean, there's so much science to it. And that's actually what attracted me to it, which is, because I was really just the support. I had beer when I was 17. I had too much of it, and the smell of it just made me so nauseous. I was like, I did not drink beer from like the time I was 17 till he started going, here, I made this, try this, try this, try this, try this. So I tasted his first IPA, I think. And then I was like, oh,
this is fun.
Yeah, because this is very different. It didn't smell malty. It didn't smell like a barn floor. It didn't smell like Molson Canadian or whatever. Like, it didn't smell like whatever made me sick. So I think it's really true. It's actually an acquired taste. And so then I would start asking questions about like temperature and the different kinds of hops and the different kinds of like, he would always be like, here, smell this bag of like hops that he just opened, or look at this grain and how this one was like a chocolate color, and this is like, so all of the different colors and the different flavors and aromas and the how those things come together, but also are affected by temperature and all of this stuff. That's the fascinating stuff to me, the sort of science plus art of it. And of course, like, just finally seeing you have a passion. That was really the whole thing of it, because I have like this much alcohol tolerance. I'm drinking, like, when he's sharing with me, he's giving me this much. So I still don't drink a lot of beer, but I like
Works out well for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But I like to taste it, especially managing the tap room. I like to be able to tell customers my perception, at least, of the beer, Totally. I find the easiest way to sell something is to have tried it, and especially to love it. So I will drink some of it, but I'm not a huge beer drinker. But it's not because I don't like it. It's just because I can't really tolerate it. But I tolerate him, and
that makes up for it.
Yeah.
As far as like, I love it. I love it all. the when I guess more just getting into the timeline and sort of, and also I'm very interested in your involvement in this, Steph, because I have a business. I've had a business for 10 years with my girlfriend, and I'm, I feel like it's really cool to work with your partner, and like you've got this sort of like thing that you're doing together that makes it sort of like, like twice the energy at home. Like obviously there's some negatives because the work never kind of ends and you got to try and put some boundaries on that, but yeah, exactly. But that doesn't last forever. I know we had to force a stop, and now we make sure we do weekends, and we really like we always talk about the talking never stops, but you try to stop the doing for a little bit because the talking is the fun and the ideas and stuff. But as far as when June, you said when you basically taken over as head brewer, June Hop had been incorporated. How long? Because I guess you opened, you said September 1st, 2023. Was that, did I remember that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our opening day. Yeah.
And so when was the incorporation, and then how long was it from, like, did you work at Signal whilst building it, or did you like just sort of quit and then just do, get involved in the build? How did that all go down?
Yeah, I kept working because it took actually quite a while to get zoning changes through.
Surprise.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was quite a process. And then
God,
I think it was 2022 the buildings started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So it took about a year.
And then I think it was 2023. By 2022, late in the year, I think I was down to reduced hours because I'm sure you know the Signal story a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think by 2022, I wasn't even brewing anymore. I was just kind of managing the paperwork in the brewery and doing some delivery and stuff.
So he had
a bit more time.
Like, it actually really worked out.
Yeah, and then I got laid off early 2023, which totally worked out because then I could full time work on putting the brewery together at Dune Hopper. So
right,
amazing. Did you design the actual the brewery setup, the brew house, and where everything went, or how did that go down? Yeah. So it's basically custom as far as what your ultimate sort of like, all right, probably within a budget, but of course, but like is
very
it set up
budget controlled.
Yeah.
But as far as the where things are and all that type of stuff, I imagine that's probably pretty important for a brewer to just be like, it makes more sense if this thing's here, so then they can connect that better and that type of
thing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to kind of think about your brew day because you're moving where you got to move and what you got to do, and then
all the hoses and
cellar work, transferring beers.
Malt,
how am I going to package this? And
all that stuff. Okay, amazing. So then, and it took the rest of the year. Then you opened September 1st. Steph, what was your situation as far as getting involved? Like, was it like as soon as Colin decided, hey, I want to do my own place? Were you like, hell yeah, I'm in, I'm working there, or like, did it work out differently? How did that come about?
It totally worked out differently. Yeah. So I have been a copy editor for 20 years. And so I've been working from home for that long. And I expected to, be support and maybe have some say as in like helping for inspiration and ideas and all that kind of stuff. And so I would be included in on the meetings with Colin and Greg, his partner. And, but I didn't have a lot to do with it, and I didn't expect to.
Right.
But as we were getting closer, like some days I would go, and there was a day when we were putting in in-floor heating, and so we were all there, doing tying hoses or whatever we were doing. So we had some contract workers, but Greg was handling most of the building and stuff because it was his property, And I would sometimes go and help and check it out, but otherwise minimal involvement. And then as we got closer to opening, you know, I had ideas for the tap room, and then we were all there on opening day. So I learned how to like use the POS system, like all of that stuff. You know, I knew I was going to be in the tap room to help out. But I ended up working there, I think, I mean, because we had so little money when we started, and so we didn't have money to pay employees or anything. Colin was he was brewing, but also like mainly working the tap room. And then I would go and help on the weekends. And from from September till May, I would go in on the weekends, and I just worked for free. So, and that's how I got to know like the customers and stuff. And then I started kind of taking ownership of like, you know, because I was there, and merching the place, and I think this looks better here, and this makes sense here, and you know, all that kind of stuff, ideas for the tap room and for the customers, and then seeing customers' needs. And so I started to get more and more involved. And then come May, which was we knew that we were going to have to start ramping up. So we hired 2 people. And then our business partner was going to be the taproom manager, but it didn't work out. So I stepped in, and luckily, because I'm a freelance editor, I was able to put my editing on hold. So from May to this September, I worked full time in the taproom. Gotcha. So we opened 7 days a week, and then I was doing like, you know, the tap room and merch and staffing and planning events and doing the whole front, right? What everybody sees, because Colin was totally busy in the back. Yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, that was interesting. It was really hard because I'd spent 20 years behind a desk. And all of a sudden I was, you know, having to be social for however many hours a day. I mean, it was crazy. I would hit a wall. I like, it was like, I was just like, well, you got to keep going. It doesn't matter if you hit a wall.
And are you like an introverted or more extroverted person generally?
I'm great with people, but I really love to be alone. Like that's right, okay. I really, I like being home. I mean, that's why I set up my business the way I did, right? I'm home by myself, and I love the quiet time and all of that. And, you know, every now and then when I feel like it, I go out with friends or whatever, I socialize. But it turns out that I'm really good at being the taproom manager. And I have really conflicted feelings about that, but
well, that's a really interesting, that's a really interesting thing, and like that's a common misconception about introverts. Like a lot of people think introverts like don't like being social. Like that's not actually the case. It's just like a lot of like what I hear from what you're saying is that you're probably very introverted, meaning that like, you know, like you do like being a people person, but it also drains you a little bit. But it drains you more.
Social battery.
Like it doesn't like that doesn't recharge you. That like that drains you, and like you need to recharge on your own kind of thing. Does that sound right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I loved taking care of our customers. I wanted to it was so important to me that the beer come with an experience, right? So people are always asking us, are you in the LCBO or whatever? And I think, who knows? I don't think we could meet the demand of the LCBO plus our busy season. I don't know, you know, what you will do in the future, but for me, I'm like, no, I want to be a destination place. I want you to come and have some beer, but also we have like a kids corner, and we've got games, and we've got a volleyball court, and we have you know, a huge patio, and we have live music sometimes, and we have a food truck, and like, just, I want it to be like a big experience. So they're like, I love this beer, but I also had a really great time. And that's what they remember, you know? So I was really enjoyed, and I just in general very much enjoy watching people enjoy Colin's beer and have fun, more so than probably anything else, really. I mean, it's not hard to serve beer, you know, but it is really hard to manage a whole bunch of things at once and try and make everybody happy, and create like a great experience. And I think that's why we get so many good reviews. It's because we're the full package, right? It's excellent beer, but also like the ambiance is welcoming. I mean, we're like huge dog people. You better bring your dogs.
Oh, thank you.
We absolutely love the dogs. And I fully admit, I will see the dogs first, and I will be giving them treats, and I'm on the floor. I take pictures of them. I've created a whole social media thing around Dogs of Dune Hopper.
Well, that's so cool.
And yeah, so it's I think it's like we work in partnership that way because Colin is so beer focused. And I think that if we didn't have somebody in the front paying attention to all the rest of it, we wouldn't have the same experience, you know? But
no, I don't, absolutely. I fully admit that.
Yeah. I mean, you're more the back person, right? Like, you're good with people, but you don't, it's not your space, right?
No, I enjoy being out front. It's actually fun most of the time interacting with customers because
everyone wants to talk.
They want to be there. They're interested in trying the beer, and then I get to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do enjoy. I prefer being in the back making the beer. That's
like tinkering and playing around in your element. So in that sense, that's what keeps work interesting for us as partners, because we have different things to talk about. So we can partner up on things like, okay, I don't know, just like planning events or whatever, you know, or donations. We get asked for a lot of donations. So we talk about that together. But for the most part, it's we bring such different things to the table that we always, I don't know,
we complement each other.
Yeah. I guess that's
That's awesome.
We do. We work very well together.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
You can tell you're bouncing off each other. It seems very organic.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steph, I cut you off.
We just, it's probably because we have such different spheres. Like, I let him do his thing, and then he lets me do mine. And so then we just do our
balance
own
each other out
together. Yeah.
Different minds focused on the different parts, because it's kind of better that way. It's better that Colin, you're focused on making the beer as best as possible. When you get an opportunity to chat to people, it's pretty cool for you, like you were saying, because you know, every single time you go to any brewery, everyone wants to speak to the owner / brewer. Everyone always wants to do that. So you get to come out here, but and they'll love it, and they'll go brag, oh yeah, I know the owner, you know.
It's hard, doesn't it? Or we get asked, so can I have a tour? I'm like, it's not that much. You can just look and see everything right there. I'm like, sure.
You just peek around the counter there. No, it's very cool, and thank you for that that breakdown. I think it's dope. I think it's just so cool, and it sounds like a fantastic partnership and a great way to work. And at the very least, even if now at this point now it's getting, you know, colder and less I guess less busy, which is typical. So then I guess, Steph, you're able to kind of maybe step back a bit, but what you've established over the summer as far as the ambiance, as far as maybe some processes that staff can follow, or even if staff means Colin serving again, at least you've got all those things in place, and you just pop your head in on the weekends, and you know, because people are now going to want to see your face. If they're coming in, they're probably going to associate you a little more with the brewery. And now
Yeah,
that they
and
know that you
I
guys
do
are
have
partners,
some FOMO. Like I actually
Yeah.
miss, if Colin says, "Oh, so and so was at the brewery," I'll just be like,
asking for you
"Oh,
today.
really?"
Yeah.
During the winter months, that's when all the locals come out in PEC. So,
Right.
and then because it's slower, you have more chance to chat with them. So we put on the gas fireplace and we sit around and there's games and we really get to know them. So if I'm not there and those locals come in and Colin says, "Oh, Chad and Lisa say hi," and I'm like, "Oh, I wish I was there,"
Yeah.
So it has become a place very quickly. It's become a place of like where we really enjoy a lot of local support. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all about the county. I feel like that summarizes the county really well. It really is a local support place, and
Yes.
like I got friends who live out there as well. So like I've seen the way that they, been there with them, and they, every single place they go, every restaurant or dollar store, it doesn't matter what it is, like they know the people. Yeah, they just know the people, and everyone's like, "Hey, Carol, how's the kids?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm from big cities, and I've only lived in cities until Hamilton, and we're very much like that. We know every person at every cafe, and we know our butcher and the fish person, and all the different places that we go to, breweries, obviously, and it's such a cool thing, and I feel like beer taught me the value of that, because a lot of beer is in smaller places, and you go to the places and there's more of a connection to community that you lose when you're in the city. So it's very cool hearing that, and I love that for you guys. It's so dope. I feel like I see all the glasses empty. I think it's time for the next one.
Yeah, I think it is.
Let's go.
What are we saying, folks?
I would say hatchet.
Hatchet?
See if you can, like you can. I don't know if you'll remember the taste, but you don't have to compare them. They are two different beers.
But it's good to have two different ones back to back. I love this label as well. I bet, is this one a big merch one? Because this is cool.
Yeah. Well, this one just came out. Oh,
it's new.
Yeah, it came out at the same time as the sour. Oh, and it was August. Oh, relatively new. Now it's already. Yeah. It was September. Okay, so last month.
Okay. Yeah. So not too long, a few weeks.
Yeah.
And this is a 6.2% IPA. Do you know the hops on this one? Oh, Citra, Eldorado, and Rawaka. There you go. It says it right on the side, as it should, as you mentioned earlier. That is fire.
Yeah, that's a great label. I think I can make summer t-shirts out of that using that actual background color as the shirt.
Totally.
That purple, like the mauve or whatever. I reckon this would be sick for winter too, because it kind of feels like cozy and like
really any non-summer season like this would work, because even fall, like this is giving me kind of like a cozy, cooler weather vibe.
Very much so.
like a cooler camping sort of vibe.
Yes. Well, and that was it, because our camping season for us, we like to go when no one's there. So we always camp. We usually go to Algonquin, and we always camp in September.
Okay, so is that quiet season for camping?
Yeah, like it's after the September long weekend.
After what's it called? Labor Day. Yes. Interesting. That's good to know.
So it's colder. It is colder, and so this is nice. And then the one he's making now,
you're gonna say
it's called Ember, and it has like that's a really cozy. That's going to be a nice cozy label too.
Oh, I love that.
Absolutely.
That's the Amber Lager?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a great name for an Amber Lager.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's actually kind of perfect and very, what's the word? The word creates visions. What's that? What's that?
It's evocative of
there you go.
Mood, right? Yeah.
Very evocative. Great word. Look at that. Although, of course, a copy editor winner.
Ambiance.
I love ambiance. It's also one of my favorite words. This is awesome. So once again, Hatchet, just to repeat, it has Citra, Eldorado, and Rawaka at 6.2%. So the vibes on this one sounds like they're going to be a fair bit different based on what you even while we were pouring the other one. I think Steph, you were sort of describing this as a little brighter.
Yes. Yep.
Tropical.
A little more. Bit like ripe pineapple candy
candied
note
pineapple.
there. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, it smells good. It smells like
Oh yeah, it smells awesome.
Cheers.
Yo, cheers.
Cheers.
Get that in, you guys.
Oh, the lighting.
Oh, the nose is wild on this one. It's so fresh and tropical.
Fresh, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
This is fire.
Mm.
This is very different, and you're 100% everything you said. Like, what's the tasting notes here? It was citrus, tropical, grapefruit, lime, pineapple. Yeah.
This one's bold.
Bold. The body on both of these beers has been phenomenal. The head is fantastic. I love personally a nice little chalky, which is like that kind of almost graininess on there, and I feel like I'm getting a little pinch of hop burn in this one, which is something else I'm quite partial to. I feel like hop burn is like a cool little. It's not like very pronounced, but I find it also gives some longevity to the beer. If there's any beer that's a little
that makes sense. Yeah.
green, I feel like
There's
this
a
is
little greenness. Yeah.
exactly. Yep. Some people don't like it at all, but I think there's like even if the beer in the beginning has a little more, I think it's completely fine because it means it's going to just taper down, which means it's going to also extend the life of the beer significantly.
And it doesn't end on that note. That's what kind
all.
of makes it feel smooth, right? It ends like very.
It does feel smooth.
It doesn't have like a lingering bitterness or anything. It's just so.
This is fantastic.
Like, you're so right.
I think it's an interesting combo of hops as well. So Rawaka being the new school freestyle type of joint, Citra being a bit of a PNW like OG, and then El Dorado as well being that kind of similar to Simcoe with that kind of like dank citrus, like early 2000s, like it was really popping. So it's like a very interesting combo of hops. Is there I was going to say my word, I was thinking it was science. Is it like a science to selecting these hops, or was it more just like, let's just, like, were you trying to catch some vibes and pair them up, or was it more of a...
I kind of have a process for my hop pairing. I generally like to have one hop that's
dominant,
kind of main player.
Okay.
Not always, not every time, but typically I will have a hop that's kind of my main player, and it's going to be at least 50% of the hop bill. In this case, it's Citra.
Gotcha. So it's more of a Citra IPA. You'd probably describe.
People joke about Citra. I friggin' love it. I think it's a fantastic
so good.
hop.
It's the goat. It's the goat.
It kind of is the goat, though. I don't
know, especially for these kinds of beers. Definitely.
Yeah. Sorry, we're getting all Citra excited.
It's such a good aftertaste.
And then,
like sometimes if you leave time between the sips, you get like a really nice aftertaste.
Yeah, but then kind of once I've picked my star of the show, I kind of picked 2 or 3 other hops that I think can support or bring out aspects of that star player. So in this case, I was going to Rawaka to get that kind of tropical citrus, pull that out of the Citra a little bit, and then the El Dorado just kind of going a little bit off on a tangent and getting some of the more pineapple-y kind of tropical notes to play in there.
Definitely can catch that. That's not okay. So you're actually really thinking about sort of the flavor profiles of the hops that are produced, and how they would kind of pair together.
Yeah.
El Dorado, I feel like, is the almost like the odd one out of the 3, and I think that's such an interesting choice. Was that more to sort of introduce a bit of that sort of that I imagine like El Dorado is like a lot of like that dank citrusy kind of thing, very similar-ish to Simcoe in that way. Or am I
it's a little bit of flavor pairing though? Like I thought those flavors could play well with what Citra was doing.
Oh god, it does.
El Dorado is really kind of an amorphous hop. Like it has such a broad variance of flavors. Like depending on how it's used and what it's paired with. Like a single hop El Dorado versus El Dorado paired with something else can vary so wildly.
Oh yeah. Two different hops they're not necessarily the sum of their parts.
Yeah, for sure.
They can become something different.
Yeah, that's the most amazing thing about the science of it, right? I mean, you're like a chef, so really, but
to some extent, I find that you can kind of get a pretty good idea of what you're going to get when you're pairing hops together, but to some extent, you're shooting in the dark because sometimes it comes out different.
Totally.
And I guess there's so many variables, whether it's the yeast, whether it's the malt profile, when the hops are added,
The temperatures.
exactly temperatures. Like there's so many different things. But honestly, this is fantastic. Back-to-back haze. I am so insanely impressed with both of these. I honestly, like, this is some serious shit, guys. Like, I love trying a brewery for the first time, not knowing what to expect. I kind of came into it with positive expectations, but this is fucking fantastic. Like, truly, you guys should be really proud of this stuff, man. And this is awesome. I love it. Not only just the branding, obviously the branding's phenomenal, and you guys obviously both have fantastic energy and chemistry, which I think is really important to pushing a brand. But the liquid, like I said,
holds up. It holds up. God
damn, it does, man. I really feel like Ryan was gassing you guys up, and it was not boosting.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the most positive way. Like he was really like saying how fire you guys were. So that's why I was coming into this, and we were both excited about chatting with you both. But I'm super impressed. I feel like it's not all like this is like up there with a lot of some of the best stuff in the province. This is really good. This is really, really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, truly. Like it's this is great. And you've only been around a year, and I always find that sometimes you need a bit of time to dial it in. The system's new, and then there's all these. I mean, a year is a pretty decent amount of time anyway. But still, some people take longer than that to get it dialed in. So I imagine you guys are pretty happy at this point with where a lot of these beers are at. Is that fair to say?
I am happy with the beers. I will never say something's dialed in though. There's always There's always something new to try, some tweak. I mean, I will say with Hatchet, I tried something new with the dry hop that I really like what it brought to the beer. So I'm probably going to start incorporating it more often. Like you always try to find things to make the beer just a little bit better.
Of course. Totally. So you mentioned like a couple of flagships along with 10 Pitcher. Is Hatchet one of those flagships? Like this, is this a regular recurrent? Oh no,
hazies are always new.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I mean, never say I won't bring something back at some point, but there's no flagships. I find the customer base that likes drinking hazy IPAs likes new.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely true.
And I'm one of them. Like,
you gotta know yourself.
We have like 3 hazies right now, don't we?
No.
So if people do like
no,
did one sell out?
Sold out.
Oh, Breakwater sold. Okay, so yeah. Well, at one point, then we had.
At one point, you had 3.
So people would have like the American Pale Ale, and then the 3 hazies in their flight, right?
Yeah, I started out with what I would say were 2 flagships, which is the lager that you had, and had I had cans of it available, I would have sent them to you. But
the American Pale Ale.
Take a Hike. It's like a classic American Pale Ale that you would have probably had in the early 2000s, kind of like Sierra Nevada kind of.
Yeah.
I love
it's my favorite of our beers.
It's hard to find these days, so I'm like, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah,
and I drink a lot of it. I love it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We're not tasting it, but we both love the idea of it. Just hearing you describe it.
Oh yeah, we're both big Westie
It's been my favorite beer since we opened, and like every new beer that comes is delicious. But Take a Hike is always my favorite.
Standard 30 IBU pale ale. It's got that malty profile you would have had in the early 2000s, and
it's
then
so easy.
Cascades hops for that classic citrusy grapefruit.
Oh yeah, that's money. That's money.
It is. It's perfect. And you know what? It's really good for people who ask, "Do you have an amber? Do you have something like, what do they usually ask for? Like something darker." But it satisfies them. It's a good blend of malt and a little bit of citrus, but it's not too lagery. It's not too biscuity or bready or cereally, and not too hoppy. And we get a lot of people who are like, I don't like craft beer.
Come to a brewery.
Yeah. They're usually like dragged along with their family or something.
Yeah.
Whatever, because their partner loves beer. and they don't like craft beer. But what I've actually discovered that means, which I find so interesting, is they don't like hoppy beers. Anything hoppy or with a lot of bitterness to them,
Yep.
craft beer. So that's all they mean. They actually mean the taste. Because I mean, dude, it's all craft beer. The whole lineup is craft beer. So then I give them something to taste. Like, okay, well, what do you normally drink? Well, Coors Light or something, right? So then I'll give them Tent Pitcher or Tent Light, and they'll go for that. And Take a Hike is also like one of the best for those kinds of people who are like classic beer drinkers, the classic styles, don't want to veer into hoppy beers, have tried it. Because for us, craft beer was initially like just like super bitter.
Yeah, just like from the IP from the IBU wars of the mid 2010s.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
You guys remember the original Bone Shakers?
Oh, yeah. I surely do. I surely do.
It probably
How
wouldn't.
bitter can we make this beer?
The tongue strippers.
Yeah. Do you remember? There was a beer that what was it? It was from
Green
Pallet
Flash.
Wrecker. Green Flash Pallet Wrecker.
Yeah.
That was
God, that sounds horrible.
yeah. That was I used to love that. I only had it one time. And there was another one that I tried to have someone send to me, and he said it got caught at the border every time. But there was one, it was a Mikella beer that was just called 1,000, like 1,000 IBUs.
Oh.
And which is I think impossible. I don't think it's real.
I think that can't possibly be true.
Yeah, I don't.
But it tastes like it's 1,000
you
IBUs.
could probably do it, but you wouldn't taste it. I'm pretty. From what I've read, I think the taste threshold on IBUs is like 80 or something.
That sounds right.
So that would make much more sense. But yeah, it was.
But
it was
even
definitely a different vibe back then.
Like you were saying, Bone Shaker back in like 2014, like that was harsh stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it was 9%. It was a little, but that was kind of what was exciting. That was pushing the boundaries of beer in 2013, 14, whatever, even earlier.
And that's what they would try. So now we're moving more toward the haze, right? The
Yes.
less bitterness, more flavor and aroma.
Yeah. I think Westies.
Although your West Coast was really
Bit of
good.
a comeback.
Yeah, but your West Coast wasn't too bitter. It was still very smooth. The perception of bitterness was lower then. What was it?
That one was 55 IBU.
55.
Yeah, and I didn't think it was too bitter, but in another beer I might have.
It's a good point. And Westies are. Look, you're preaching to the choir here. Both of us are deeply in love with Westies, and
I would go so far as to say even more than haze, like in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or at the very least, every beer session, there's definitely like I'd break up haze with a Westie or something, and I'll go to the States every month and I'll buy Two Hearted and bring that, make sure the little shorties, which are perfect, and so it's really great to hear that you guys are doing that. But I imagine then that you guys are seeing an interest, because that's the one thing I feel like there's like I don't know if it's just all of us like older beer drinkers who've been doing it for a little bit, that it's almost like just like the cycle. You just coming back around again, like you start off drinking lagers and you go through the color wheel and Belgians, and then all haze and hype stuff comes in, and then all of a sudden what's it called? Crispies come cool again. So, Fest beers are the greatest thing in the world, and then now Westies are. That's personally how our palates have kind of gone. So, have you guys noticed that the general, the customer base is into that? Like, are people excited or like down for Westies? What's the vibes?
They really liked your West Coast, and they want to bring it back.
Good.
I would say. Like my lineup's always changing, but I think at the time I had a West Coast and a hazy available as far as IPAs, and the West Coast was selling pretty much on par with the hazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
nice! I love that.
It was so good, though. That was a good beer. That was the Westlake one.
The West. Oh,
we called it
Westlake.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a great name for a Westie.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
On that, if you're saying it was about the same, like what's the like, is there a particular type of person that are wanting West Coast, or is it sort of, are they kind of like, you can tell they're an experienced drinker, or some people just don't like the tropical, maybe more of a sweetness of the haze? Like, what kind of drinker is going for
This
the West Coast now?
base, this is not overly scientific, but just
Of course,
based on what I
qualitative.
observed in the tap room, I would say it was generally a little bit older of a craft beer drinker that was
Yeah.
going for the West Coast.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I would agree. But you know what? I find too, when people say they like West Coast, if we don't have it,
Mhm.
I would give them something we had, like an IPA that
Mhm.
had more notes, like more resinous notes.
Yeah.
And we
Gotcha.
would like that.
I know,
So I
like,
would feel
that.
this is Breakwater, which we just sold out of. That was another hazy, and it had tropical notes, but it had notes of pine, and so it gave off a perception of bitterness too.
God.
And they would like that.
Okay.
We don't have a West Coast on now, but sometimes the piney taste gives off that sort of.
Yep,
It
that can be
definitely
enough. That can be enough.
Yeah.
What would you say then is the percentage? I'm only asking this because I'm just really curious of like where the market from, in the last year of business from you guys, where you see it. Like, what percentage of people are drinking an IPA? Like, what percentage want haze and what percentage want a West Coast? Maybe when I say that, I mean like specifically ask for it, or whether it's directly, or like you have those piney bitter ones or the tropical juicy one. Is there like is it 50-50? Is it kind of like, is it leaning towards haze?
Not super scientific, but
once again, totally
around 70-30 hazies to Westies.
that sounds
right.
Probably higher than I would think, if I'm honest. I feel like there's definitely a crowd that loves a good Westie, but I feel like we're a bit of a minority still, and I feel like that it's because, think about it, if you got into craft beer in the last 4 to maybe 7 years, this is an IPA. I've had a brewery tell me that in Montreal, tell us that there were like people would walk in and they'd ask for the sour, and they'd be like, "Why is it not like a smoothie?" What? Because they don't know that a sour that's not a smoothie exists. They don't know that an IPA that doesn't look like this exists. So there's a whole bunch of people that are experiencing craft beer in this whole way that, obviously,
it could be my customer base demographic
is trending a touch older because of PEC.
Well, I think we get a lot of tourist traffic, and a lot of locals, and we're not super well known province wide, so we don't have that craft beer enthusiast customer base really hitting me hard yet. So
it's a matter of time, dude.
I think that was the case, then I would definitely see the hazies elevated a lot more compared to a West Coast.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, it's a matter. We were talking off air about the Quebec folks, being a big thing, and I know both. Nate's right around the corner, and I was in Montreal for a while, so I know that there's so many people that just it's like a vacation spot. It's just like people just go there. It's super popular, and we both know a lot of beer nerds, and a lot of beer nerds go there, and I've had them come and bring stuff back. So I feel like it's more just a bit of an awareness thing that just slowly over time, as people discovering like, oh, you guys do killer haze as well. Oh, okay. Like that would probably, I feel like almost haze is the lure to bring people in. And
you know what? I feel like the Quebecois, their favorite or the one they asked for most was a white beer.
They do. Like a Unibrew.
It just
like a Cheval Blanc or something, or something like that. Yeah.
They love their hazies, though.
Yeah,
definitely love their hazies.
Yeah,
love.
Oh, they do.
It's a wheat beer, man. They were always asking for. Yeah.
Do you guys do a wheat beer?
We did.
We did one. Yeah.
We sold. It was called Whittle. And it was.
That's a great name. You guys are killing it on the names. Really.
I showed you the can. It was a really good one.
It was. I made it like a summer kind of patio beer, so it was a Belgian, kind of like a Belgian style white wit beer, but I made it 4%, just kind of like a beach beer.
It seems sort of like an Allagash white kind of thing.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a good comparison.
Or are we missing Whittle?
Yeah. I don't see it, but it was a great design.
That's what
and it sold well.
I believe you.
4% too.
Yeah.
So that was like we had that and Tent Light as an option for 4% beer. And then the sour at 3.5%. The lighter beers sell really
Just
well.
killing it in the summer.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. So it sounds like that's something that I think that's really interesting because it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not surprised because obviously, you know, whether it's Cheval Blanc or you know, Unibrew, what's it called? Sorry, Blanche de Chambly or something that's like
Yep.
mad popular out there, or Allagash White. Even I that's not really my jam at all. When I was in Buffalo last month, and there was a distillery we went to, and they had it on tap, and I was like, oh fuck, I have to get this. Like, and
Oh,
it
man.
was so nice
Like,
because
like
it's not
it,
my jam, but
it does
goddamn, it was good.
it does not matter at all if that like if that style is not your jam.
Yeah.
Allagash White is magic.
You shut up and you order it, and that's what I did.
Exactly.
And it was glorious, and I feel like, yeah, sometimes you just gotta
You
know,
got to
try some-
like you got to trust the OGs on that.
yeah, you can't go wrong at all. That's
It
fascinating.
made for a fun flight too, because
Yeah.
if you could put in a wheat beer, then I could say stuff like, so you can, you know, if I tend to not get too nerdy with our customers because they aren't especially beer nerds. If they
That's
are,
smart.
you might start asking questions that, you know, Colin might be better to answer. But otherwise,
That's so
I like
smart.
to say, well, you have like the wheat. So if you had a flight and you wanted to try all different things, like not all hazies or something like that, right? You could have like a beer, say the lagers, where you get so much of your taste from the malts, and then the wheat beer where you get your taste from the yeast esters, and then the hazy beers where you get your taste from the hops. And so you've got like all these different categories, so your flight can be like an experiment in taste, you know. And then you can describe the flavors. And like for me, for Whittle, for our wheat beer, I was tasting like you were describing, banana, clove, you know, and I was getting bubblegum
Yeah, there's
notes.
bubblegum in
And
there.
so
yeah.
there's like,
citrus.
yeah, there's like, it can be fun for people. I try to make it like a fun experience, you know, because there are a lot of people who come after they've just been to like 3 other breweries too, you know?
Yeah,
So
totally.
you try to make it like just,
Bit unique.
yeah, something that will stick out for them too.
And I guess you're right, because PC is really well known for like tours, like you going on a winery tour, and then people are like, oh my gosh, I've been fucking to 7 wineries today, can you please give me a beer? Like,
Yeah.
that type of thing. Or they've done a whole bunch of beer stuff. Has it been, what's that been like for you guys, as far as like, I guess want to drill into a little bit of the local scene? Like, how has that been to fit in to, when I say fit in, not conform, but to sort of like, you know, where do we fit in as far as, you know, what we offer that's different? Like you were saying earlier, like, I don't want to do the exact same thing as all these other fantastic places. How has it been like for you guys to fit into both the beer side and then also to be an alternative to the folks who are there for wine tourism?
I think the differentiation is, I guess, more in the taproom experience. I mean, every brewery pretty much is going to have, you know, lagers, hazies, sours. So I make a lot of the same beers. I mean, I try to make them as well as I can. But yeah, I think it's more the taproom experience.
Hey, well, the best thing about it is that people will often bring up the topic of competition because there are so many people, so many breweries, at least. I mean, there's tons of wineries, distilleries, cideries, everything. But we have not experienced a competitive feel at all. So
Yeah.
if people come and they're like, oh, I love IPAs. Hey, you know what? Down the road, there's all my friends, and they are like a candy store for IPAs. If you really like traditional style, darker beers, hey, there's Gillingham, and you can go there, and they really love, like, there's something for everyone, you know, there really is. So if you really love like a family friendly place where you can leave your kids, and they are coloring and playing and playing with toys, and they're in the sandbox while you're at a picnic table drinking your pint, and they're totally occupied for 2 hours, and you want to bring your dog, then you come to Dune Hopper. And also, like, what's different too is our seltzers. The bubblegum seltzer and the banana popsicle seltzer have been really great. And in the summer, we had slushies. So we have, I would say, like, our thing is more like a family-friendly place, as opposed to, say, where you're going to maybe somewhere that's a little classier, or that doesn't have a large patio spot. Where, you know, if our food truck's not open, we're like, sure, bring your picnic, it's fine. Bring your Thanksgiving dinner, you know, that's good too. Like, we're just very easy, where you can go and relax, right? And
Love that.
yeah, it's I mean, I think we've really tried to make the focus a place where, and we, of course, we have a fire pit. So we've really tried to make a place where people are like super comfortable, right? They can get off the campsite and come and hang out. But they can also be on tour and go to a bunch of breweries and then sort of like undo their pants, you know, and sit at Dune Hopper, that kind of a feel where you're
Figuratively.
figuratively, yeah. Please keep your pants done up.
Do not undo your pants.
Like, you know, oh my god! I know all the things
Everyone
I
got the
said
point.
in the tap room by accident. It's been an experience. Never use the word head anymore. Always foam. Again, I've asked some terrible questions.
I bet.
It's a horrible thing.
I was gonna say, you're for someone who said they don't drink a lot of beer, your beer knowledge and the way you're describing all the beers is on par with any beer nerd. Like, how?
Oh yeah.
How did you, like? Are you just osmosis from just being around beer and you just soaking it up, or
He's
what?
had to listen to me for 10 years.
You know what I think it is? I'm actually interested. Like, I ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
I ask a lot of questions. Yeah. I find the whole process really fascinating. And so because I'm more or less interested, I can retain the information. But yeah, I think that's it. Just from asking questions and
that's great.
And just you telling me stuff, I guess. Yeah.
When you're in the tap room, probably reciting it.
It's my favorite thing to talk about. So otherwise, I know
it doesn't. It's true.
You got no choice. Yeah. I was even thinking I probably like poisoned my girlfriend's ear with all of that stuff too. So yeah, that would probably be part. But you're in the tap room because you're describing this stuff to people, right? And you're going to sell it to them, and you can wing it for a bit, but you know, you kind of just have to know your shit after a while. So you
do because they ask questions, right? What's the difference between these three hazies? Or what were they asking? We had a beer that they were always asking, what's a cold IPA? You know, you had to be able to say what that was without just giving them some weird lame answer, you know, like nobody really knows, or well, it's, you know, like this like I would explain to them it was made with a lagering yeast, and you know, we just the whole thing also educates them, and when they're educated, I feel like they can appreciate the beer more, which is what I want.
I will say, as a new brewery, that was a learning experience for me. How few people actually know what a cold IPA is.
Oh yeah.
Just in general. Remember that conversation you had with that woman about bitterness?
Oh yeah.
That was really funny. She swore that these beers were very, very bitter, but their IBUs were extremely low. But so yeah, I feel like if you can get excited or get people excited about the flavors, and create like a sort of mini ambiance for them every time they're about to taste something, you know, or if you can educate them about what they're going to taste, I feel like they just invest more of themselves in the experience, you know?
Yeah.
of tasting the beer. Like, I want people to appreciate this, but you don't have to like it at all. But I don't actually find that's the case. Like, I'm able to get a lot of people to taste things that they say they hate. Like, no, I don't like sours, but you haven't tried this sour though. We focus on tartness, and I think that the word sour puts people off a lot.
It
So if
does.
you see things like tangy or tart, it's a little less off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it creates a little more
Refreshing.
openness. Well, and then you can get like more tactile. Like a sour might have like this note, like where the roof of your mouth gets a little tangy and you like sip something, you're like,
Ooh, that's
that.
nice.
That's like a good mouth
Ooh,
experience,
zippy.
right?
Yeah.
And so you just find other words to use to describe it instead of saying, well, we throw like some yogurt in it, or we throw some lactobacillus to sour and ferment. Like, these are maybe technical words that are accurate, but they're not
Inviting.
palatable,
No.
right?
Yeah,
They don't
yeah.
paint the picture for people who don't know what the hell they mean.
You seem to have you seem to have a real gift for like for kind of ascertaining what's going to entice any range of customer. Which is a huge asset in the tap room.
I think I think how do I put this? In my life before tap room, my whole life has been books, and that was one of my special magical talents, was matching people up with books. And so I think I've just been able to translate that into in the tap room. But it really is a lot about.
She's very good at sussing out what people actually mean when they're asking.
Yeah, or what they want.
Do you have anything?
I can see that.
Gosh,
yeah.
And once again, that comes
some
back.
people will say, "Well, I don't like hoppy," but quite often she's figured out most people when they say that actually mean bitter.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's always what they mean by
So
that.
then you can direct them in the right. Yeah, people who say they don't like craft beer, like you were saying earlier, they just mean they don't like things that are bitter.
It's not it's not always the actual words that they're saying, but that there's certain meaning behind it, and you evidently have a skill for sussing that out in people, which is really impressive.
It's an editing skill too. It's like, I have to is this what you really mean? Is this what you really want to say? Is this like just what is the meaning behind all this? And I guess that's translating, but it really is just a matter of being interested in your customer too. They're not just money. They're like people who chose to come to us, right? Like it's a gift every time somebody walks in. So it's being interested in who they are and asking what they like and making them the focus. And then they kind of engage. Then they're engaged in the process, and I guess that's part of the experience too, right?
Absolutely.
It's making it like a whole and I mean, I am also conscious of the fact that these people can make or break us too. Like on another levels, deep down, I am also aware that if these people don't have a good experience, especially in the time of social media, they will tell everybody.
Oh yeah.
So underneath all that, like I don't put it on because like I want to get good reviews. This is something I actually enjoy doing and I'm good at, I think.
Oh, we can tell it's not an act.
Yeah, well, but it's like it is something you have to be conscious of too. You want to engage your customer because they are your livelihood, right? But in order for them to have a good experience and give you a good review, you want to dial into that instead of going, yeah, no, we don't have that. Or, oh, you don't like that? Oh, well, yeah, it's too bad. Maybe you should go over there or something like that, It's just
you work with them until they get what they want.
Yeah.
or something they like.
Because
Let's
they're doing
educate.
because they want something too.
Yeah.
So I want to find out what that is.
That is a valuable gift.
For sure.
On
Bathroom?
that note, yeah, that's exactly what I was just about to say.
I think it's time.
Bathroom
We'll do
and then
a-
next beer.
We'll do a quick bathroom break, and we'll be back in a bit. And then, but you guys won't even notice, and we'll see you
Okay.
guys in a second.
Okay.
And we are back.
And
All
we're
right, y'all.
back.
It is time for some sours. Well, I know you guys rocked one earlier. This one here, Adventure, which is a strawberry passion fruit sour. This is also yet another phenomenal design here that could lend itself to merch.
Oh yeah, that would be a
Absolutely.
good hoodie. Yeah.
Definitely see
Oh,
this
look
on
at
a
that
poster.
adventure.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love this. And this is a 5.1% sour. Sorry, Steph, I'll cut you off.
I think this is our fourth. Is this our fourth sour in the Adventure series? So they're all called Adventure, and then they just got their
Different
flavor
fruits.
profiles.
Gotcha.
We did pink lemon sour, which was strawberries, raspberries, and lemon. It was like a pink lemonade.
Nice.
And then cranberry, raspberry, vanilla, which was around Christmas time.
Oh, that's fun.
Then a peaches and cream.
Oof.
And then blueberry, raspberry, and then this one. Oh, this is 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
5. I love it.
Yeah.
Color
and you've
looks-
all done very well. Like we have some licensees in the county, restaurants and stuff, and they usually take the sours, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. A sour's like a bit of a thing out there, would you say? Or you think maybe people just
for us.
Yeah.
gotcha?
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool.
This
Is-
one I think is our tangiest
Yeah.
of
Okay.
all the sours.
The passion fruit brings a
Yeah,
lot
passion fruit will definitely do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, looking at the color, it's definitely passion fruit
that's
coated
good.
there. What was the other one? Passion fruit, strawberry. Yeah, strawberry's always a bit of a soft
It's soft, but it's a nice
color.
aftertaste.
Okay. Yeah, that's fascinating. Strawberry and passion fruit, just period, is such an interesting combination that
What
it's
would
not.
you do it?
Hey,
what was that one? Sometimes I get inspired by weird things. To be honest, I think this was Jolly Rancher. There's a Jolly Rancher flavor.
Was
I
it
was like,
strawberry?
that seems interesting. Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
that's a Jolly Rancher.
Listen, sometimes he gets flavor inspiration from vaping. I'm not kidding. He probably
You
didn't
know-
want me to tell you that, but
We won't snitch. No one's talking. No one's listening. I'm excited to try this, guys. Cheers.
Woo,
Cheers.
cheers.
Get that in.
Cheers.
Nate, we're twinsies again on this class.
That's right.
Mm.
Oh, hell
this
yeah.
I feel like that's gotten better with age.
Ooh.
Well, that's
Ooh.
awesome.
Oh, taste that strawberry at the end.
I see exactly what you're saying. Is this pretty new? There's only 10 check-ins on
We
Untapped.
need these Hatchet. Couple months.
Couple months. Yeah, there's only. I'm surprised because Hatchet had more check-ins in this one, so maybe the beer nerds were getting into Hatchet. Not enough beer nerds are discovering the Adventure series yet.
Yeah, I would say out of all of the flavors, probably our most popular was the blueberry raspberry sour
Okay.
Yeah.
of all of them.
Like, yeah, because that's the one that was rivaling
Yeah, 10 pitcher.
10 pitcher. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Raspberry
pink
raspberries
lemon.
are pretty the pink lemon
People
was
still
really
talk
good.
about that beer.
Yeah, that was our first sour though. Maybe that's why.
Okay, I got a question. Looking at the can, it says barley, wheat, oats, and dairy. Does this have lactose in it?
It
Mhm.
does.
Oh, interesting. Okay, this is a lactose sour.
Yes, which is look, we have a Twitter account, a joint one called Team Lactose. So Nate and I are big big lactose fans. It's kind of a little bit done right now. We got it at the peak of the hype of milkshake IPAs because everyone was getting mad about it. So we just used it to promote milkshake IPAs from different breweries. But
I don't think we've actually tweeted from it in like or X'd from it, whatever the fuck you call it now.
whatever you call it.
in like 3 or 4 years, but
we're still passionate about lactose. Goddamn.
yeah.
I just find like the sweetness and body that lactose brings to a sour, which if it's not like a smoothie sour, all that fruits kind of like the sugars in it are all fermenting out. So lactose kind of brings some of that sweetness and body back into a sour.
It smooths it out, so it doesn't feel like you've just, had what were those yogurt drinks? Yoplait? You remember Yoplait?
Never had one.
And it kind of gives you a scratchy feeling in your throat. The lactose takes that away, so you're not getting like a heartburny, scratchy feel in your throat.
I totally get that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And you know what? Like the touch of lactose is subtle enough that if I hadn't noticed that on on the label there, I probably would not have guessed that this was that this was a lactose sour. It's subtle enough that I think it has those effects that you were just describing, but this doesn't need to be labeled as a sorbet sour, or something like that to feel like it describes it properly,
Yeah.
Yeah, with dairy, I don't think I've actually seen any beer say dairy, which is an interesting. Was that a choice, or was that like a legal requirement to say dairy versus lactose?
I think it's back from my days when I was supplying beer to the LCBO. Their labeling requirements for allergens were pretty strict. So I think that the actual term I had to use was dairy. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Okay.
Which makes sense. Oh, this is really good. I see why these are popular.
I'll put that on our chalkboard too. Contains dairy, just in case. Some people don't know what the lactose is.
No, that's fair.
LCBO, so I don't think I'm required to have those allergens on there. I think it's good for people to have that information. So
yeah.
I think it's definitely the way to go, just in case, because I know there's a lot of people that can't do dairy these days.
Like whether they're vegan or if they or even if they have a dairy allergy,
Good point.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't do really dairy very much at all. I only drink like oat milk lattes, but fuck, I love some lactose in the beer.
Oh my god, I love cheese.
And cheese.
All of these beers would pair so well with cheese.
Every single one of them.
Actually,
beer pairs so well with cheese. My god.
Oh, it really does. Any beer. This you could do any
this would be killer.
You could do with a brie.
The triple cream brie. Don't get me started.
Yes.
Ooh, a nice little cracker or a little fucking baguette, like you were talking before.
And especially with something
a little
like
bit of
this.
Prosciutto, little
My god, man, you're making my mouth water right now.
Stop it.
But
what's Uber Eats?
The acidity in something like this would cut through the fat of a brie so beautifully. It's perfect. It's
exactly
perfect.
That. Yeah.
I'm gonna since we're talking about beer and cheese pairings, I'm gonna throw something out there that I've thrown out before. My absolute favorite beer and cheese pairing is Imperial Stout with sharp cheddar. It's
yummy.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that.
It's money.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had we used to always get this in Montreal, like they had the Guinness cheddar? Have you ever seen that before?
Tried that. No.
So there's this place called Fromagerie Hamel, Hamel, in all across. I don't know if it's all across Quebec, but they had a bunch of them in Montreal, and they used to always have this Guinness cheese, which was basically kind of that. So it was kind of it was almost like brownish with the little yellow chunks in it.
So so that's got to be like a Guinness brined cheese kind of thing, right?
I imagine that they just put it into the mix or whatever, because then we also used to get a wine cheese. There was a wine cheese from Wisconsin, so we used to always get the Guinness one, the wine one, and triple cream brie.
I think that's like a beer brined or a wine brined cheese, which is
brined is probably a good,
which is dope. I think that's probably what it is,
and it could speak to why it works so well.
England.
Sorry, Steph.
I think I've had beer cheese before from England, whether it was
I wouldn't be surprised.
Or a whiskey or something in the cheese. I think I've had that before.
Probably, yeah.
And they sort of even. I guess I was just trying to agree with the point that it works so well with the stout, that chocolatey note, but they already pre-mix it in. To that, and it's a lot more subtle, obviously.
I'm sure that would that would work even on its own. But if you but if you're ever doing like but if
toast.
you're ever doing like beer with a charcuterie board or something like that, if you've got
Always.
it, like if you like, and like not even any adjunct, but even if you've just got like a 10% like Russian Imperial Stout and like a really old cheddar, like that's money.
Stop it.
Yeah.
I hadn't had cheese in one. We went to a winery on the weekend. I hadn't had a cheese board. We got a little cheese board thing, and I was like, we used to do it all the time to the point of like it got too much. Like really seriously, Montreal was so cheap compared to.
Oh God, cheese in Montreal.
Yeah, it was the best, right? So we did it so often that we ruined it. And so the first time we'd had it, now we only do it special occasions, and I appreciate it so much more. So when it's like with wine, obviously it goes everything with beer. We were at a winery, so we had it with wine. It was just like some sort of sharp cheddar with like little like kind of like rice crackers. God damn, it was incredible.
Oh, it's perfect.
That's just simple. So imagine with the beer, and then you got the meat, because we didn't even have any of the deli meat with it. Oh God, now you're getting started. Sort of thing. So speaking of food, then I guess you guys you have a food truck. Is it a food truck that you work with locally that just sort of pulls up, or is it your own business? What's the deal with the?
No, we didn't want anything to do with food. We yeah, and because we're dog friendly and the whole 9 yards, we didn't want to
restrict your license
restrictions and whatever. So there's a couple of locals who live across from the brewery on Sheba's Island, which is in Westlake as well, and where a lot of our locals come from. And they had a food truck. So, I mean, it's kind of a long story how we got them, but it just worked out so perfectly because we got them right at the beginning of summer, didn't we? Was it like?
It was partway in this. We had another plan for food, which ended up falling through, and then the food truck, long story short, a few weeks later kind of worked out, and it was a magical fit. It was beautiful.
Oh my God, they fed us food, we fed them beer, and that was our like partnership.
That's amazing.
And they like brought everyone to the yard, because we would notice that the brewery would kind of clear out at around dinner time.
Yep.
And we thought, food is so important here, because I mean that makes them stay, right, too. Absolutely. And so this food truck though is doing like homemade arancini, as well as like buddy and poutine and Beyond Burgers and normal burgers and the best onion rings on the planet.
Amazing.
And grilled cheese and what else? Like they just have a giant menu.
I don't know. It's like beer drinking food. Comfort.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like there's
perfect.
not a single thing you just listed off that wouldn't go great with some kind of beer that you guys would have on offer.
All of it. Like the arancini is so good with the lager, but also like Take a Hike is really good with the arancini too. Well, you can't really eat it because you don't have a lot of dairy, but I eat that arancini like it's going out of style. It is so good and gooey. And but we insisted on that because the county, a great deal of the county is known for being kind of upscale now. Like it's become very gentrified with lots of boutique stores and restaurants with legit chefs and things like that. And sometimes when you go to breweries, you get these like special lettuces, salads and things like that. And we didn't want any of that. We wanted like fat and salt,
and filling.
Yeah. So like a juicy burger and fries and grilled cheese for kids and poutine and like just really good. And then she makes ice cream sandwiches too, which are to die for.
Oh, come on.
Oh yeah. They put their heart and soul in this, and they don't have to. Like that's the beauty of it. They don't care if they make money or not. They're doing it like because it's fun, and so they just put everything they have into it, like making the risotto at home for the arancini. Like it's like it's so good, so good, and affordable. Like not because we didn't want to be, the county can sometimes have a reputation for being a little snobby and price gougey because
Yeah.
we get so many city people and a lot of tourists. And that was one of the first things before we opened. I was like, we're not charging people certain amounts of money because we can, because they're city people and they'll pay for it. We're down to earth. You know, we charge what we have to charge, but we're not participating in that whole, you know, I mean, not everybody is like that, but we just wanted to be as down to earth as possible and affordable, accessible, but still good, you know, still quality.
Absolutely.
Quality. And that's really what you get in I feel like people go to communities like PEC for the quality because it's typically hyper local. Like it reminds me of like Vermont or something where everyone like, okay, so the beef is from 3 kilometers down the road, that farm, that's where the beef is from, and then the cheese just from these guys, you know, that type of thing. And I think that's like, you know, those little stands, like those little red little shops you pull up and you get these apple cider donuts and butter tarts. And like we always yeah. Isn't that the best? Like
I'm so hungry right now. We've been talking about food so much in the last like, half hour. I'm like my mouth is watering.
There's one farmer in Prince Edward County who collects the spent grains from the majority of the breweries, and he feeds them to his cows, and these cows supply beef to a lot of local county restaurants.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
It's like full circle, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, so our grain
I love that.
Cows and the cow, and then we see updates. Is that Walt's Sugar Shack?
Walt,
yeah. So it's great. I mean, sometimes that can come across as a little pretentious, the sort of hyper local thing.
No.
But there really is a very welcoming community. It can be boutique and expensive, but
you get what you pay for.
Yeah,
it's worth it. Like, it's worth it.
Worth it. Yeah. I really enjoy the county. I love all of the people that I've met because it is so supportive and there's everybody's so friendly.
That's only been my experience out there. Like everyone's so lovely, and that interconnectivity, like the attachment to being pretentious is kind of like, while you're right, you're not wrong that it can be taken that way. I don't think that's the reality. I don't think that's the intention of anybody behind it. I think it's the intelligent sort of cycle of life. But in a world where we live, where everything is fake from like factories and you know, crazy ingredients, when it comes back to real ingredients, why is real ingredients pretentious? Why is feeding, like, I bet you 150 years ago, that's exactly what happened. There was the off feed from some sort of factory that went to the cows, and then it's just like, it's the cycle of any sort of community. But now it's pretentious. Like, that's kind of insane that it would be perceived that way. Maybe it's the people behind it are making it perceived that way, but on paper, that's just the cycle of life, and it's normal. And I think that's the beauty of the smaller communities, and I think that's a lot of the stuff that in the cities that, personally, my first experience was probably Vermont that did that you go to, there was a place called Farmhouse Tap and Grill, if you guys have been out there, and they would have on the board this is where the cheese is from, and then this is where the eggs are from, and this is where the meat is from. And then I was always like, what? Like when this is 2016, I think, when I went for the first time.
That place is dope.
Isn't that crazy? And it was just mind blowing because the beer is all local, and the beer list is just all chalkboard, changes every day type of thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then so was all those things on the board, all the cheese, it was equally as thoughtful as the beer. And I always felt like that's what the county offered as well. Whereas it's
very similar.
Very similar. And it's a vibe that, like, it's more expensive because factories made shit cheaper. So everyone's used to a cheaper price point because we live in larger communities now. That's just how it goes. But you get what you pay for. And if you want better quality stuff, we pay out the ass, to be honest. Here in Hamilton, I'm sorry, for Mo Butcher, we pay everything organic, and we know the person there. We like, we know what the care that goes into that. That's worth it. We go to the fish shop, pay out the ass because it's better. We know how they fly it in. They tell us the stories.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
And when you and when you go to a place like that, when you buy a beer from it, like from a place like Dune Hopper, when you get the food from the food truck out front, do you regret a single dollar you've spent there? Never.
Nobody
No.
does, because you know the beer is exemplary, and you know that there's a real family behind it. There's a couple behind it, and there's real people who are, you know, no one's making money hand over fist here. This is like a real passion thing,
Yeah.
basically, right?
Yeah.
No.
I wish it was the other way around.
I'll tell you a little story about money in Dune Hopper. When
Yeah,
we
please do.
first opened September 1st, 2023, I had 4 beers that I had made and packaged. The bank account was empty.
We had no money. We
actually-
literally had to open.
I actually had to sell some of the beer I'd brewed before I could pay the canning company that canned it. And then I had to sell some more of that beer before I could buy ingredients to make more beer.
Oh
Right, the
my
next
God. This shit just breaks your heart.
But I mean, you put everything you have into it, right? Like, we one of the reasons we did this, it was not just because it's Colin's passion, but because if you want your life to change in any way, you have to make some drastic changes and take some risks, right? So we put everything into it. I mean, everything, savings, everything. And so you have nothing. And so we worked for free, but, thankfully I had my other job that we could do. So we were lucky to be able to do that. But also we were really lucky to partner with Greg, because there's no way we would have been able to afford a piece of property anywhere. Especially not in the county where everything's like $1 million. So, but I mean, we did well. We had a really good year. And because we made some sacrifices, we were in the black for our first year, you know, so it really worked out.
Yeah, that's
impressive.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Congrats on that. Do you know what's really funny? My girlfriend and I were talking about this exact topic today about taking risks, like the stories we were talking about, like when we first moved to Montreal, we were like basically abject poverty, eating beans and rice. That was it. She earned $400 a week when I couldn't work as an immigrant because immigration fucked me over for 10 years. It was a long story. And then all the different risks we took to own we started the business. 2 weeks after we started the business, all of our clients left. So I had to sell my Apple stocks because we worked at the Apple store. That paid for our rent to the end of the year. So we knew our rent was covered. What we had to do was make food and cell phone and internet money. And then we had to go and just all of these like risks that we took, even right now, like I can tell you off air, but we're going through some shit that would probably make people fucking lose their minds. Like, financially, it's going to be fine, but the things you have to do to get by, most people won't take those risks, and I understand why. So I personally, because I'm balls, it never ends. It's been 10 years this year that we started our business, and like I don't know if it ever really ends. And there's a big thing to be said about taking those risks that are kind of educated risks, and you're just like, we're gonna make this work. Let's just go. Yeah. And then you've made it work, and it's been a year plus, and then you're moving into this next year, and now you've got this. Okay, cool. So you've understood. Now you've got some processes, and you've understood some financial flows, and then what you can afford for employees. And then you're like, all right, if we're moving into year 2 now, it's like, okay, well, we need to expand our footprint. Probably, I imagine is probably important for you guys to get the brand known a bit more and bring those people in. But also, I imagine you guys are probably interested in doing things like landing these beers, which I don't know if you've thought about it, but independent bottle shops, these need to be in the Wheeled Brew in Barrie, in Durand here in Hamilton, in Sidewalk Cafe in Kitchener,
in the corner store at Dominion,
at Barvolo in Toronto. Like, these need to be on the same shelves as the other best of the best in the province, because this shit is fucking exemplary. Yeah, branding wise and the beer wise, and it deserves. Is that something that's important to you guys as far as You know,
That would be the next stage. I kind of wanted to get through the first year because I really didn't know what to expect in house.
That's fair.
Now I kind of have a little
That is
better
smart.
grasp of that, and going into year two, yeah, I definitely want to start hitting up the more well-known craft beer spots. Evan over at the Wheel Brew has been a good supporter of us, actually.
Fantastic.
He's such a good dude.
Chris
Yeah.
over at Brewer's Pantry, awesome guy, awesome place. He's got some fantastic beers there. He's been really supportive.
Where's that?
Bowmanville. Yeah.
Okay.
Check them out.
Yeah. I will. Brewer's Pantry.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. Okay, yeah. So like you've already got some interest, and you've already been working with, with some folks in that world.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, but yeah, that'd be the next stage in the evolution. Is
Expanding the out, and maybe online sales, because our online sales are very good or very frequent.
Gotcha. So it's more just like pushing that through probably social and just sort of awareness.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some basically from the 4 beers we've tried. No, there's still another one to go, but I feel like the same people who are drinking all of your contemporaries would be extremely excited to be drinking Dune Hopper.
I would think so.
I think it's more. I think it's sort of getting an awareness through. Do you know what it is? Okay, for like a quick example in Duran. So Duran Cafe here in Hamilton. I imagine you probably might have heard of them. You guys familiar with that at all?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you off air as well. Like I can connect you with me. So the owner, Chris, is a friend. He helped us find our area where we're trying to live here and stuff. They have what I think is probably the best beer fridge in Ontario, but I know that all the other ones we mentioned are also spectacular.
It's one of the best I've ever seen for sure.
For sure. And a brewery called Sparrow in Cambridge was in there. I didn't know who they were at the time. I saw it and I was like, well, I know Chris and I know he knows his shit, and he drives to Badlands and Third Moon every single week personally. It's like a 3-hour, 4-hour round trip to get them the day before. They always drop on a Friday. By like 1 or 2 p.m. on a Thursday, all of the brand new releases are in the fridge in Durand every single time. It's insane. That's how dedicated he is to craft beer. So I'll absolutely connect you with him because he's a friend and he's a great dude. And they have also a bar connected to the brewery where they have kegs and they do pours, and their list is always fantastic. So I saw Sparrow and I was like, I use this example because I think this is perfect as far as I was like, well, Chris doesn't fuck around. I know he knows what, like we share the same palate. So if he says I just bought everything in the fridge that was Sparrow. I was like, oh, and then I found out that Matt from Barncat now works at Sparrow, and they're this cool brewery. There's also a cafe roastery in Cambridge, and I found that out later. But I took the risk because I trusted the person who fills that fridge, who's buying. Yeah. And I didn't text him. I was just there, and I just bought them. I didn't even question. I didn't text Nate. Sometimes he'd be like, yo, Nate, have you heard of these guys? Like, whatever. I just did it. And I just thought, I think that's the perfect example of a conversion. I'm obviously somewhat involved in the beer thing where Nate and I are like on the periphery, of course, but like relatively familiar with what's going on. We pride ourselves on taking, and I wasn't familiar. And I was like, all right, well, if he says they're good, then they're good. And that's what it is. And I feel like sometimes you just need to be put in those fridges alongside the people that you deserve to be alongside with. And I can see not only like, I think branding wise, I know it's sort of because the can's pretty, it doesn't mean what's inside it is, but this is equal to that. And I think that your shit is going to look fantastic in these fridges, and then are a fantastic complement, whether it's the sour or the crispy or the haze. That would look that the drinkers would appreciate the and then that's going to encourage more because he has Slake in there, he has Matron in the fridge, like he has all my friends in there. So then Dune Hopper needs to be in there because I feel like that's, you guys are now like a year.
This is Prince Edward County gold right here. Like this could shift for sure, especially especially with this attractive branding.
Exactly. I think it just needs to be put there, and then maybe just put in front of a few folks, and it might be even worth a few trips. I don't know the logistics of how these things work. It's just an email, or I'm going to text him. I'm going to be like, I'll text him tomorrow. I'll be like, because he'd probably be asleep now. But like, dude, fucking get on this. But you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's if you've already got relationships with these good people, then I just think that's going to be one way to sort of get. It's one way of many ways to get into people's sort of space and just understand that, hey, this exists. this is now another place I need to visit when I'm in the county, and I think that's it's so cool. The potential for this is so insane. It's so good, and whilst beer and as a whole is an interesting place right now, I don't know. I think there's a lot of beautiful things happening, and what you guys have going is really great. I'm so happy for you both. It's so cool.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, it's super
That's awesome.
On that note, is it seltzer time?
I'm down for the seltzer.
Let's do it.
Do you guys like banana popsicles or banana flavored things?
I personally really do. Do you know what? I like banana flavored
do.
things, and bananas themselves, not the biggest fan. But
Yeah, but I'll tell you something super interesting about this.
talk to us.
Please do.
Because when we were doing the label for this banana seltzer, I did some Googling and I discovered that bananas now are not the same strain or variety as they used to be. So the banana flavoring that we always get, like for banana popsicle or those banana marshmallows or banana whatever, that is what bananas actually used to taste like until some sort of fungus wiped out the entire variety of that banana.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
So bananas actually used to taste fake. Like the fake banana that we have now. And then that whole thing was, that whole variety or whatever you would call it, it was wiped out by some kind of disease. And so now we have bananas that taste the way they taste. And because there's other people who have said, yeah, I really don't like bananas, but I love like banana popsicles, or I love banana marshmallows, or whatever. And we do get some people who will, it's another nostalgic flavor.
Yeah.
So I really love banana popsicles, and I loved them when I was a kid. Like the Popsicle Pete banana popsicles. Oh, they were my favorite. That and the chocolate. So, but there's another reason why there's nostalgia around it. It's because our penicillin back then.
See, I was just gonna say, like I was wondering if you were gonna say that was like the thing that was gonna be the clincher here.
Well, the funny thing is, some people are like, "Oh my god, it tastes like banana penicillin," and some people like that. Like they have a good experience of that.
Actually.
What is that? I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
so it's
cough syrup?
Like kids liquid penicillin was banana flavored.
Yeah.
Never knew there was a liquid penicillin.
Oh yeah, and it was chalky and yellowish, like pale, kind of a pale yellowish flavor.
That sounds
and
fun.
So this is, I mean, every kid who was like, I'm 50, so somewhere in that sort of 80s. I don't know, how is it still banana flavored? Well,
I'm 38, and I still have very vivid memories of that, of that banana penicillin as well.
Okay.
I want to try.
I never actually had it.
You didn't?
I don't know if it
oh my god, I still remember the spoon.
If it was premium or something, I don't know.
Premium penicillin.
High level penicillin.
Special.
Well, that's what this is. This is called hard water, but maybe it should be called high level penicillin.
Hard water. So this is like the sour series where we call it adventure, but then we have the flavors. So this is banana popsicle flavor, and then the first one was the bubblegum seltzer, and that tasted like double bubble.
I'll tell you a little story about the bubble gum.
Please do.
This seems so fun.
So my start into seltzers, I made them at home and got a lot of good feedback on them over the years. So when opening Dune Hopper, I kind of wanted to come up with something that people, some people can't do.
I smelled this before.
Just want something different. They don't like beer. So I decided to try making a seltzer, and I had the idea to do bubble gum, but I thought it was really weird. Like, it's a weird idea.
Yep.
I made a pilot batch of it. Like, literally, I made 50 liters, filled one keg, put it on tap, and it flew out of the tap. Just nuts.
People wanted flats of it to take back to Toronto. They were asking us if we could fill their water bottles with it.
Oh my god.
It was great. People just loved it.
That's amazing.
I didn't really do one over the winter, but in the spring, late spring, I think I decided to do the bubble, like a full production batch for summer, and it did really well.
Yeah.
But then I kind of wanted to change it up, but I wanted to kind of keep my flavors unique. So I didn't want to do the typical, cherry or whatever. So I decided to do, in this case, banana.
Yeah.
Oh, this smells very familiar, but I definitely have not had this banana penicillin stuff.
This is exactly what it smells like.
Is this like the
because it smells sweeter than it tastes.
Gotcha.
It tastes like a seltzer, and it's really good over like crushed ice or as a slushy.
Should we put the other one in the other can in the freezer?
But it's not too sugary because, of course, it's fermented. So it's not malt based. It's not vodka based. We just fermented it. So the sugar is basically fermented out.
Interesting. All right, y'all. Cheers.
Here we go.
Cheers.
I'm drinking our light
We've got our light lager here.
Oh,
Forgot the banana seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
that's great.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah, you're right. It smells more intense than it tastes. It's definitely like those little like banana, little like marshmallowy things.
Yeah.
My mom used to love them. Yeah, I remember them as kids.
That's
now,
super interesting.
yeah, this is great.
I find it very refreshing. Like this.
Yeah,
It is very refreshing.
and it's like it's much less. It sounds on paper like being banana seltzer like sounds more intense than it is.
Yeah.
Well,
But
the aroma is way more intense than the flavor for sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
It's meant to be crispy and refreshing, and it sells well for people who keep asking us if we have gluten-free beer.
Right.
Because there's no grains in it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're celiac, no, because it's made on the same equipment as we make the beer. But otherwise, it's a good option for people who don't like beer and who like sort of candy flavored things like pop, bubbly, whatever, but still want something alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect for that. This is
super interesting because it's one of those things that how they say that like scent is one of those things that's more memory evoking than any of the other senses. Like I'm definitely getting that on the banana penicillin thing, which is so funny.
Yeah, I really want to try this penicillin. What do I do to get it?
I think you probably have to be under the age of 12 and have a bacterial infection. But...
All right. So next time your son isn't feeling so good, get an extra one. Right?
I can actually remember like the sound of the bottle being shaken, and it was like a milky kind of bottle. Like everything was kind of milky.
Oh yeah.
And I remember the measuring spoon, like it was a plastic measuring spoon where you pour the liquid into the spoon, which was hollow, but then you tip it so that the liquid goes into the spoon part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm Googling it.
Like a measuring spoon? Oh yeah.
I'm seeing the exact thing. It's just like a little clear, kind of like slightly opaque bottle.
Yeah.
And then the liquid's bright yellow.
Oh yeah.
Wow. It's called Calpol. Everyone. Banana flavored amoxicillin and glowing Chernobyl nuclear yellow.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's kind of interesting because it evokes different things in different people. I like to say banana popsicle, but other people will say penicillin. But it's not negative for everybody.
Oh, it's not negative at all, and it's 1000% a conversation starter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like people are into it.
Nostalgia. And I am because I'm, well, I don't know what age you would start it, but I am absolutely in my nostalgia era right now. I miss the 80s and I loved growing up in the 80s. I love all that stuff. But I think for the seltzers too, we want to keep it so initially when I was stocking the tap room, I wanted to make it really nostalgic. So I wanted to carry Pop Shop, which we had as a kid. I don't know if do you guys know those pops? They were Pop Shop. It was POP SHOPPE.
Yeah.
I don't.
And they came in
It's a bit
like
before my
red
time, I think.
tomato crates.
Oh, I've seen these for sure, but I've seen them like since like recently. Obviously, I didn't grow up here, but like I've seen these everywhere.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
see, when I was a kid, the pop shop was an actual store, and you walked in,
yeah,
you could like pick your flavors and fill up these crates
right.
with all
Oh,
your various flavors of pop.
Yeah.
That's
So
fun.
those are the
Nat,
kinds
you'll know these. You've seen them
those are
before.
the kinds of things that we wanted, like the kind of flavors like grape, orange, like the simple flavors
Cola,
that we grew up with,
yeah,
right? Although they
cherry.
have a pineapple flavor that I don't know about. The lime Ricky was one of my favorites.
Ooh,
And
lime's a
grape.
good one. I can see lime working for this.
Yeah, lime would be great. It's a little less what should I not childish, a little less
I know what you mean.
it is, but
Like mum would always drink lime type shit. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, and I feel like this would work perfect because seltzers are selling really well in general. Seltzers and RTDs.
Yeah, and like you know what this is making me think of is like when Willibald like really blew up with their with their seltzers in 2020 because they were kind of the first ones in Ontario to really do that big like with their watermelon seltzer and how like that was really exploding. Like this feels on that level to me. And like no one people have dabbled in it, but no one's really kind of like done it in a kind of like repeating series sort of way, other than Willibald, and and it seems like you guys are kind of on that same trip with this.
I don't think I've had any of their seltzers. Do they still make them?
Oh, they absolutely do. Yes, yeah, and they're still some of their best sellers.
Oh, my neck of the wood, like all I pretty much see from Willibald is IPAs around here.
Interesting. Well, their seltzers, like their purple seltzers and the LCBO, and they've probably got like I think 6, and then they do a lot of because they're a distillery too, so they do, like a whole bunch of RTDs as well. So would be worth as far as market research.
I'd check that out for sure.
Yeah,
are they like fermented? Like there's not alcohol.
Vodka based. No, it's vodka based.
Okay.
Because they're a distillery, they have the license to do that.
Yeah.
So they're able to do it that way. So it's not a malt thing.
Yeah.
But they're like the little Red Bull kind of cans, like the shorty, the skinny cans.
Yeah.
They're one of the ones who have leaned into it, I guess. That's why Nate's bringing it
big
up.
time.
And they do some fun stuff, and it'd definitely be worth if you guys haven't tried them. Like I feel like this is very similar quality. Like Nate is definitely correct. My girlfriend buys the Willibald stuff like by the case.
Yeah.
And this is the type of stuff, once you have some variety, if you're able to say, hey, I just feel like it's like it caters to the non-beer drinker from a brewery, but it's obviously crafted, so it's higher quality than a White Claw or some of these like larger brands that are definitely cheaper and nastier, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's and it'd be you already got interesting flavors. Like this is interesting. I'm burping. I'm getting banana through my nose. This is fascinating. I'm loving it.
I mean, because we don't have a license to create anything else, like we can't offer cider or we can't offer like a hard alcohol or something, then this is one thing that we can brew. So it's going back to what we were saying earlier, where we try to have something for everybody because we know that we get families, and that means extended families often too, so we try to have something for everyone. I mean, if there is nothing that somebody wants, I will make them a tea or coffee from our back staff area. But I feel like the seltzer has been really popular, especially with the younger crowd.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, some licensees, like we have a Caddyshack liked the bubblegum seltzer. They bought a case of it. So Mini Golf, like a place like that, would be really good for that. Yeah.
And
are all of the seltzers called hard water?
Yeah.
Okay. And then hard water,
like hard water is the seltzer brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could be some serious shit for you guys if you lean into it.
I think so.
And I feel like already just these two flavors are different. Bubblegum, fun. Banana, fun. Like you keep playing on that vibe. I feel like definitely worth doing the research, checking out something like Willowball, which is probably the only local guys who are like going into it with like 6 to 8 SKUs.
Yeah.
Whereas most people would do one at most, and it might be a casual one and done as opposed to a one and regular.
Yeah.
But this has, I think seltzers have like well done seltzers have some legs because the calories, obviously they're a lot lower. And just like they're flavorful, and that's why my girlfriend moved into it. She stopped drinking beer, and she's co-created. She was her idea to start the podcast, and she drank beer forever. And then over the last year or so, maybe everywhere we went, she just stopped drinking beer, and we'd go to a brewery in the States or whatever. And they'd always have some sort of seltzer wine cocktail option.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's becoming more and more important. A lot of breweries here in Canada are doing that, which I think is awesome. But I think that this has a huge potential. One, the metallic stuff, I know it's like small, but I think that's super sick. That makes it different, and you can tell immediately as soon as you pick it up. And it's
the branding is genius.
The branding is genius for real, and that makes, I think it's going to play a part in it. It's dumb, but it's not dumb, but it's like oh really, the branding, they really should be about the liquid, but it's super fire, and the liquid is fantastic. This is not something I would typically drink, but I'm enjoying the shit out of this. This is great.
Same.
Oh, good.
And I feel like that is something that you guys could probably do a lot more of and be able to move some more units of. And it might be a quicker turnaround than the 2 weeks to do an IPA or whatever it is, or a lot longer for a lager. So it's this is fantastic. Very, very cool.
How long does it take you? It's about the same,
it's
isn't
about
it?
the same timeline. Like most of my
Similar. Okay.
is 3-week turnaround.
Even for this, eh?
Working with bringing in a canning company at a package, I kind of got to group stuff together for packaging.
Right.
That makes sense.
There's
But no,
there's the bubblegum
I find
can.
fermented seltzers take me roughly
cool.
the same amount of time.
By the same amount of time. That is.
Yeah.
See, already, I just feel like you see a bunch of those. Say if you see 4 to 6 of those on the shelf, with
that's dope. That's
you know what I mean? Because a bubblegum, who makes bubblegum flavored seltzer? Like that's fascinating.
I know. And people really loved. They loved.
I'll tell you another funny story about the bubble gum.
What was that?
I came out
Here's
with
my
it.
description of it.
I thought it was really unique, interesting, and then Steph and I, we spent, I don't know how long it took us, but we went through like all the seasons of The Simpsons.
I forgot about that.
Season early 30, 31 or something. There's an episode where based in the future where Lisa's standing there and she's literally drinking a seltzer and it says bubblegum flavor.
This was after you made it, though. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, they have
they predict everything.
They do.
Wow.
Amazing.
Late stage Simpsons still on point.
Never late stage.
Talk about validating though. And like that was amazing that we'd done it first. That's what I like. That we'd seen it. We
did it before you saw it.
Yes.
Which is even cooler because the Simpsons are copying you.
Yeah.
I love it.
I made this exactly into a t-shirt. So we have like pink t-shirts with this label on it.
Oh, that's fire.
That's perfect.
It sold really well.
I'm not surprised.
Perfect.
Yeah, both guys and girls love the bright pink. It was great.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I love it. Hey, do you guys mind a quick bathroom break? Because I feel like we broke the seal and now it's a problem.
Nope.
And then we can we'll pause for a sec and then we'll come back and then we can bring this bad boy home. I think we're doing great. All right, y'all.
Yeah.
Back in a sec.
Okay.
Beautiful. Alrighty,
and
guys.
we're back again.
Drinking this banana seltzer. Yeah, we're just saying off air. This is fantastic stuff, and I feel like this has been really cool. You guys curated like a fantastic lineup of beers that I feel like Nate. Do you feel like? I feel like I have a really good idea of what it is that I can experience.
Yeah, I really do. I've got a good sense of what the Dune Hopper vibe is here, and it's fucking delicious. I drank way more of these than we usually do for podcasts.
Yeah, we usually try to keep it calm just because of the amount of time that we have and the volume. And basically we've cleared almost everything out, and this is It's a good time. This has been really cool, and just hearing the story and your approach to everything, and it really feels like that you guys fit perfectly into an area like Prince Edward County, in that, you know, that general Bloomfield kind of region with some fantastic neighbors, and just you're offering something totally different to, you know, if you're in there visiting other breweries or visiting wineries, you know, people can come through and just have, you know, totally something different. And I think that's why I think the area is so cool. There's so much room for that. There's so
Yeah.
much room for people like yourselves to come in and just have this unique experience that, you know, you're a year in, but I feel like to me, and Nate, I imagine you feel the same. I feel like you have a pretty strong identity with who the brewery is, what you do, what you're excited about, what you offer, type thing. Whether it's the actual product or the actual tap room, kind of what we were talking about before, as far as like what people can expect when they come there, whether it's the volleyball or the welcoming for children or the pups and all that type of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the brewery experience itself, like coming to our tap room, our main goal was just relaxed atmosphere, nothing pretentious. Beer, to me, is a social beverage. I can fully appreciate people that, you know, really want to sit there and analyze every note of the beer. I do it myself sometimes, but ultimately, to me, beer is a social beverage. I want to see people sitting around enjoying it, talking, having fun. And that's the vibe I'm going for.
Yeah, and being as comfortable as possible. So if people are sitting outside and it's chilly, I have a stash of blankets and I will go and wrap a blanket around them, so then they just relax, and we light fires if it's chilly, and like, just, we're always paying attention to what people want and need, and we're happy to give it. But also giving what we love. So not just, do you know what I mean? Like, we're still paying attention to what we're passionate about. Like, so what we offer is us.
Yeah.
We're not offering like just what everybody else wants. Like, we're not just.
Absolutely. It's very,
You
it's
know what I
very
mean?
genuine. Yeah.
Totally
Yeah,
know what you mean.
yeah.
It's the hospitality is what it sounds like to me. It's more like this is our approach to beer, but this is also our approach to hospitality, whether it's
Yes,
the, you know, the play area for the kids, the welcoming and the photos and the treats and the water bowls for the dogs, and then the blankets outside, and then the volleyball and the fire pit and all these different things. It's sort of like uniquely you guys, you've created a place where you're able to sort of give people almost the experience that I imagine you both would like to see for yourselves, because that's probably why you
Exactly.
created this
Exactly
place.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's sick. Isn't that sick though?
It's
To
so
be able
genuine.
to do that, isn't that, I feel like the best businesses, like I was saying earlier, the best breweries make the beer they want to think, but I think the best businesses fill a gap in the market that they wish someone else did, and they're just like, you know what, there's got to be at least 1 million people like me.
Yeah.
So if I want this, I can create this thing, and then people will probably want the same thing that I do. And
Like
I
they
think
create,
that's
like they create the place that they like, that they want to be at, that they want to be comfortable at.
Well, yeah, because I gotta spend 8 hours there or more.
Yeah.
I want to move to the country so badly, and I've wanted this since forever because I grew up in the country. And so Dune Hopper is like my second home now, right? So I try to make it like a place where I also want to hang out. So it never feels like work, you know? So it's, I mean, it does, but it also doesn't. Like, it's also like a great social time that I'm enjoying at the same time as other people are enjoying it. I'm also enjoying the ambiance, you know? So it's, and it is very much what, like, I love being comfortable and being cozy. Those feel like goals to me, you know? And being waited on. So I can do that for
100%.
other people. Like, who doesn't like that? Come on.
It's pretty
I
sweet.
don't know. I feel kind of lucky because honestly, like being able to hang out in a brewery and make beer and talk about beer and have customers that come in and want to drink your beer and talk about your beer, like,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
a dream, right?
Yeah. It is a really big gift because there is that or at least for me, there was that worry that we're moving into a very saturated area because the county is small but is full of breweries and wineries and cideries and distilleries, and so we thought, or I thought, like, what if everybody's like, oh my god, another brewery, you know? But no one was like that at all. And it's great because we just become another stop on a tour too for some people, you know. But our location is like just killer. We're very lucky to be outside of the provincial park, basically. Very, very lucky.
Mm.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely agree. They count. Yeah, it's like it's kind of perfect to be. It's the weirdest industry where it's the only industry where it's actually better to be close to your competition
Yeah.
because it creates more of a reason to come there. Like, well, look, I could hit 4, 5, 6 breweries in a day if I really want to, or I go there for a weekend, or I go there for a full week, and I can check that plus all the wineries, plus all the fantastic restaurants and the provincial parks and all of the cool stuff that comes with the area. It's one of the most unique areas, I think, in the province. It's because you look at Niagara, right? I always felt like you look at
Right.
it from
Yeah.
the wine side, like Niagara's killing it. And then there's Beamsville, then there's Niagara on the Lake. And then there's the stuff in between, there's Jordan and all these different places there. And you're like, well, they can sustain it. There's tons. There must be, like, I imagine there's at least 100 plus wineries out there. And in Prince Edward County is not small.
No,
It's not
No,
like,
it's not.
place.
Yeah.
and it's almost like the more the merrier in this world, the more great producers there are, whether it's wine, beer, cider, spirits, restaurant, farm, whatever.
Yeah.
It kind of just works out better, and it's just more of an attraction to come to a place that's already extraordinarily attractive. Like, oh, there's something cool and new because I'm going to go there anyway.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now there's a, and I don't know where that ends, where like what's the point where that becomes too much, but I don't think we're anywhere near it right now because I think how many breweries are in the county?
11, I
11
think.
or 12.
It was 12. We lost one.
We lost one. Okay.
Oh, Barley Days closed.
Oh, Barley
Yeah.
Days are closed.
Yeah.
And
And is that
I think
it?
that's it. Yeah.
Is Strange Brew still going?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
so, like, honestly, in that space, that's not a lot. It's not that many. As far as look at how many are operating in Toronto, the Greater Toronto area. There's
Oh,
like
right.
eight here in Hamilton alone. Like, not including if you
We're
include
pretty
Steel.
spread out, aren't we? I
And
mean,
y'all,
aside
that's what I'm
from-
saying.
we are on the same road as Matron and All My Friends. So as soon as you turn off onto County Road 12, there's All My Friends, and like Matron is right next door.
Right around the corner, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're down the road. But the beauty of that too is, that Colin and Rob have such a close relationship that they're constantly running down to each other. Like, have you got a Carbstone? What kind of yeast do you have right now? Like, they're always loaning each other equipment and
I love that.
yeast and talking, beer and ideas and things like that. And so all of that we're different enough too that the brewers can like add to each other, and they visit each other and always give each other their new releases and stuff. And so then we're able to promote and say, oh my God, Gillingham just came out with a new black lager, or, whatever. And we tell our customers that. And one thing I like to do too is, I like to buy all their shirts. Everybody knows that I'm Dune Hopper. So then I wear a Gillingham shirt or an All My Friends shirt or and then it's promoting, because there is room for all of us.
Of course.
Yeah.
There absolutely is.
Yeah. And then we collaborate. So like the double IPA collaboration is with Rob at All My Friends. It just made sense
love
to
that.
do an IPA with them. So
Love that.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the coolest shit. Isn't beer cool with that though? Like,
Yeah.
like there's no other thing,
Fantastic industry. It's awesome.
isn't it?
Yeah.
There's not
Yeah,
another
it's
industry
wild.
that would work like that, where it'd be like, hey, I run a factory making clothes. I'm gonna go and wear the clothes from the other guy. You're like, nah, man, fuck them. Like, it just doesn't work like that. And it's just so wonderful that it's so collaborative and it's so cool, and that you can become genuine friends. And literally, it's the only time where a new brewery popping up the street actually benefits everybody. Like, it doesn't really take anything away, because it gives people a reason. People like going to 2, 3, 4 breweries in the day, or an afternoon, or an evening, or a weekend, whatever, as opposed to just one, because it's harder to get people to come out to some random place for one brewery. But if there's all of these other ones, you're just talking about Bloomfield. Let's not talk about Picton or Wellington or Consicon or any of the other areas.
But like if someone's got an Airbnb in Bloomfield, like right now they've got 3 breweries within a 10-minute drive.
Yeah.
That's world class. Like, that's like as good as like the vast majority of stuff in Canada.
Like probably some of the best in the county. And if you feel like going like 20 minutes outside of that, you've got Slake there as well, which is also God tier. So
well, it's in a 20-minute radius. You can hit a lot of breweries.
You sure can.
Yeah. And then even like Kingston, Fine Balance and Daft and stuff. And it's just like, it's like it's a bit of a dream for a craft beer fan, and like we're not even talking about wineries at all, but like, you know, if you're there's so many fantastic wineries out there, Rose Hill Run and Hull and all these different things that just,
like, you know, like there's so much hype around like Toronto and a lot of the stuff in Ottawa and Quebec and whatnot, but if like, you know, between Toronto and Ottawa and between Toronto and Montreal, you've got all of this stuff in that like in that corridor in Prince Edward County, in Kingston. Like there's so much good shit there, so much good beer. My God,
we get those people. We get lots of people from Ottawa, and lots of people from Toronto too, actually, because a lot of them have family in the county, or they grew up there, or they're there for the Airbnb or a wedding or something. It's a popular spot to get married, so we do get a lot of people from both
or for bachelor and bachelorette parties. Like it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So then, looking forward for Dune Hopper, is there anything that, you know, obviously you've just, you know, we're recording this October 24th. So, you know, it's been a year and a month and a bit, almost a year and 2 months. Is there anything that people could look forward to in the next, you know, coming into 2025? Is there anything that you want to talk about as far as that?
My next phase really is figuring out how I can accommodate more production growth. Because we're a pretty small brewery, very small footprint, small equipment. I have room to expand somewhat, but I don't think it'll be too much longer. I'm going to be looking for ways, possibly locations to move to expand my production.
Might need to knock down that beach volleyball court.
we had that good problem of actually running out of beer. Okay? Like not totally, but we were
pretty close.
We were just like July and August just blew up for us. And suddenly we were down to like 4 beers, like how we started, remember? And so it was amazing.
Like 10 pitcher must have been flying out the door.
Yeah, I ran out of 10 pitcher once. Yeah.
And 10 light and take a hike. Like it was crazy. It was amazing.
So it's really about finding ways to sort of keep that, maintain the demand, but also look for ways to grow.
Yeah.
Always the bigger challenge, but honestly, like, congrats to you both for having that problem at a time when craft beer, you know, there's a lot of places that aren't having that problem.
Yeah.
So it's you know, it's very cool, and I imagine that speaks a lot to the experience of visiting the brewery and then taking the cans home and trying the liquid and be like, geez, this is some serious stuff. So I love it. Love to hear that, because it's, I don't know, it's not common enough right now that we're hearing people say that's the problem.
Yeah.
So good for you guys. Honestly, it's encouraging, to be honest, in a time where maybe that isn't as common as it should be. I love that. Good for y'all, man. It's beautiful. So with that, this has been a phenomenal conversation. Thank you both so much for your time.
Really a genuine pleasure.
Yeah,
Oh,
truly.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a blast. Thank you.
But we appreciate the interest and the exposure and just the encouragement and the advice, just everything. This is
It's all new territory for
new.
us.
Yeah, it's so new. So it's amazing, and it feels good to be recognized too. So that's really nice.
Well, we're really so impressed with where you like with where you guys are at after just like a year and a month. Like the product is seriously impressive. Like we're not exaggerating when we say we're drinking more of these beers than we normally do in a podcast. Like that lager disappeared. like in the first bit, and the haze for even being like more than a month or so old was really good. Like the sour was dope. Like the seltzer, the seltzer was fantastic. Everything was great. Really
good.
Awesome.
Thank
Glad
you.
you like it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No, it's very, very cool. So with that, we'll wrap up here. We'll finish up off air. So for everyone wanting to check out Dune Hopper in real life and online, where can they find you? So where can they find you? What's the address for people to come check it out?
So you can find us in person at 1613 County Road 12, Bloomfield, Ontario.
Beautiful.
You can find us online at dunehopper.ca, and you can hit us on social at Dune Hopper Brewing, both on Instagram and Facebook.
That's what I want to hear. And people can order online right now. It's something that you guys obviously are going to ramp up a little bit, but people can definitely do that, which is very convenient. If any beer stores are watching or listening, reach out and get involved. But I feel like it would be up your alley very much to have like placements in a lot of these stores that have your contemporaries in there. I think that would be a fantastic addition.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk to Duran. We're gonna have to talk to Farrell at Dominion. We're gonna have to talk to Evan. Gonna need to get these in stores here.
Sidewalk. Yeah. Talk to a few folks and get you guys in. But this is beautiful. So guys, make sure you check out Dune Hopper, get your order in, get down there to PEC, even if it's coming into the winter time. Get down there before. Well, you know what? The winter's being pretty soft. Hopefully we got another soft winter, because that would be pretty nice without all those.
Yeah, we sat outside with blankets, and I made kids hot chocolate, or I can make anybody hot chocolate.
Usually
that sounds delightful.
Fire going outside.
You have a fire going, marshmallows, and bring your dogs.
That sounds like a vibe. Bring the dogs.
You know what? If you make another imperial stout, even if it takes 9 months to sell, I'll show up for it.
It's so crazy. I sold a whole fridge shelf of that.
It's one of the few beers that gets better with age.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
People, the entire shelf went to 3 people, like at the same time. It was amazing. Yeah.
It's beautiful how it goes. Once again, Steph and Colin, thank you so much for your time. This has been truly fantastic, and it's really, really cool to get to know you both and to know the brand and everything you're doing. And just congratulations on everything, and much success. And let's do this again in another year, and keep keep tabs on what you guys doing, and hopefully both Nate and I aren't too it's kind of like the middle between us, I guess. So it's
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, we've been meaning to get. I got a friend who has a food truck out there as well. I've been meaning to come out and see. And I still haven't been to all my friends. Haven't been to see you guys. So lots of reasons to get out. But we'll finish up off air. But boom, that's it, guys. If you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit that notification bell, Nathaniel.
Ding.
So you know when the new drops. Follow us everywhere at BAOS Podcast and Nathan Does Beer. Check out the long form audio, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Give us 5 stars for Colin and Steph. Just for their phenomenal beers and for this conversation. You know the vibes. We'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, everybody.
You.